All right. Looks good on my end. We're live. There we go. So, let's see. Let me go through some of the questions here. We'll open things up. Pulling up my Webull. Let's see. Let's get SPY up quick, just briefly, just before we kind of dive into some specific stocks and things like that. So, let me close this, lower the volume. One sec. All right, should be good. So SPY today is actually up a little bit, coming up strong here into the close. Let me look at Workhorse, small bounce. There's no news. I'll take a look at check here in one sec. So there's no news right now on Workhorse today. Look at that really quick for a bounce. Market's up, so that's potentially could be driving some of this stuff. I'm planning on. There's my notification. I'm planning on hanging out here for a while. Not much to do today, to be honest. Okay, here's the bounce on Workhorse. So I'm going to look at the past 5 minutes, and then we'll look at check. So we kind of came down, bottomed out yesterday. Well, yesterday we were down pretty big. Kind of bottomed out what seemed to be around this 19-ish area. Bounced up today. Market was up initially, down, and then it's been climbing back on up. So there's that. So that's what we're seeing here today. You're gonna have that volatility short term, up and down. It looks like it may be trying to test that area, that prior kind of support, as resistance. So we'll see if it can kind of either get back above or if it'll test it and then come back to the downside. I'm thinking that it may go under 17. I'm thinking like that's kind of my area I would be looking for personally to add. ADTX is actually looking pretty nice today. Let me take a look at that right now. ADTX up 5%, pushing up to 230. I have a sell. I think I have a sell at 243. That's my next sell. It's been actually, honestly, if we look at the past couple of days, it's been great for like, you could literally just be, scalping it up and down. It's coming down to about $2 as the new support now. Seems as if that's the area that it won't really drop too much below past couple of days. Even like 206-ish the past 2 days. Hasn't dropped below 206, so it's pushing up. Still anticipating some news there from them. So that's the plan for at least ADTX. Let me take a look at check. I know I've played it before. Haven't been in a while. Let's take a look. Yeah, it took a little hit here. Let's go to the 4-hour quick first. Yeah, so it's been taking some hits. Looks like 30 cents is what we wicked down to as the low, but it seemed to be like what it was trying to do, at least lately, is it's been trying to kind of find some support, some bottom here, and it looked like it wanted to kind of make that reversal, but it got kind of rejected here. It looks to be, it's kind of getting held back by the 50 SMA. Need to get above that 50 SMA. So 40 cents or so seems to be the area that it's got to get above on check. One other thing I've been noticing lately for sure is that pennies, like small caps, it's been swinging them has been tough. Now you can day trade them, and I've had 2 like decent day trades the past 2 days. But other than that, though, the swings have just been getting hit. Except my ADTX is looking fine. CLVS has been fine off that 550 support. But I mean, other than that, though, most of my swings have just been getting like hit continuously hard, which is what it is. It's just the kind of the volatile market that we're seeing with the election going on. Coming up, I knew there was going to be some volatility. Thought pennies were back. Maybe they're not. Things are going to take some while to shake out. So that's what we're at least noticing right now. Let's see. HALB. We'll take a look at HALB. What we got here? What do we got? It looks like it's trying to flag on the 4-hour. So higher lows developing, lower highs here for right now. Not something personally I would be very interested in unless I had done extensive DD on it and I knew hey, they got this going for them. There's this and this in the pipeline. Like that's what I would be looking for. But right now it looks like we're building higher lows. So look at these higher lows. We don't want to drop below like this 3.5 area. If we hold above that, that's looking pretty good for now. OPTI, no OPTI, everyone's in. Oh yeah, let me talk about SPAQ because that one's been a fun one. So I am currently, as I honored in this account, like I've said, since this is a shorter term, swing trade, type of style, I've honored that it fell below this area. It tried to come back up and it got rejected and then it fell back. So I honored that and I am now out of it in this account. I am still in it. Another account, longer term, parking some money there for the longer term. I still think it's a solid play, especially if everything kind of goes at least close to plan for right now. That's my thoughts on SPAQ. Still think it's extremely, compared to a lot of other SPAC plays, look at Nikola, like, I mean, I think it's still undervalued, but the market's going to, react how the market's going to react here. So it held up 11. 11 was the area it held today, but again, prior to the news here, look at where it was. This was a $10 stock. So that's what these SPACs, like they're like $10, stocks prior to their kind of special purpose acquisition kind of merger play. And so now it's just kind of fallen back on down, and I would not be surprised, and I know it stinks for a lot of people who are in it. I would not be surprised to see this thing dropping down to like, I don't know, $10. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. We even see, if you look at Multiplan, I can pull it up quick. Multiplan, let's look at some of the SPACs I have, is $7.75 now, man. I remember I was in it like back up in here, and then it like just kind of fell off. I had this crazy down day, and I sold out up in here, and then it just kind of sold off post merger, and it's been just headed down. So I don't think it's going to pull that kind of move, but I would not be surprised to see SPAQ do something like that where it drops a little bit more. Now I want to say that we're coming down. We got to be close to a bottom for now, but again, I don't know. We'll see. The market's going to do what it wants to do, and the CEO. He's in like damage control mode, which is not good. Honestly, better off like Henrik to be a little more on the quiet side, because he's in kind of damage control mode where he's like tweeting everything. He's going on CNBC a lot, which is good to get your to get it out, to get your name out there and stuff. And it's good, but at the same time, like, that's not always a good sign. We saw what happened with Nikola, and so I don't know. People are skeptical, and for a decent reason, I understand why. But I'm playing it long term. That's just my take. I think an entry here is not a bad entry, to be honest. It's a good starter. If it drops further, then you can just buy and you'd be ready to buy more. I wouldn't be going all in. So like for me, I have a position started in another account. And then we'll see what happens. I'm waiting for the merger probably. So like the merger happens and we drop further, then yeah, I'll be adding some. And then I'm just going to, it's something that I'm buying it and I'm not even going to look at it. It's not going to be on a watch list. It'll be in the back of my head. I'll see what happens. I'll be, staying up to date, but I'm not going to be watching it every single day for every percent move up or down, You could, of course, still scalp this you could just literally scalp this one stock, short, long, all day long if you really wanted to. I'm sure people are doing that and they're doing well. So, I mean, you don't need to you could do that if you want, but I'm personally not. I'm going to play it long term, and we'll check back in a few months, honestly. Every couple months, we'll have to just see how things go. We'll see if there's any news that comes out along the way, which, based off the video I think I had yesterday, we went through, and Henrik was saying he's got a lot of things coming. He's going to be, the idea here is that they'll probably stay in the media's eye for a decent amount of time post-mergers, So they got stuff in the works. So that's a good sign, at least if you were looking to, to scalp it. So... so the merger for SPAQ is the 28th, which today's the 22nd, so it's like next week, right? The 28th is the date. So if you had shares by the 1st, October 1st, you can actually vote. So make sure to do that. You should have gotten an email from your broker to actually make sure to go ahead and vote. So that's at least that. LCA, same kind of boat for me in terms of, oops, sorry, that was loud. LCA is kind of in the same kind of boat where it's just been like, come on, Let's take a look at the LCA chart that I have. Yeah, it's fallen below. I also am out of it in this account too. I'm going to be just waiting for this thing to kind of bottom out, settle down a little more before I buy some more. But what I will say, HYLN, Hyliion, is bouncing up today. So here's where I think we have either what's going to happen with Hyliion is that it breaks back over 25 and it starts pushing back to the upside. I think it could go towards that 30 mark. That's at least my thoughts on HYLN right now. Or what we're doing is we're going to come back up and test this area and then fall back to the downside. And then you may be looking for an entry closer to that $20, maybe even lower than 20 potentially, if it does fall back that far. I know Kramer put out his thoughts on, yeah, you should buy it around 20 or lower. Now you can take that however you want, but that's what he said a couple days ago on HYLN. And this line is just an area that I'm looking at, a general area. Support resistance level for now. So that's what I'm thinking, is that we might see, we might see it kind of test it and then come back down. So let's see if we can get back above this line, hold it, and then move it back on up right there. Yep, 28th is the date for SPAC. Let's take a look at, TBLT concern on a reverse split. I'm personally not concerned. I think TBLT's got something brewing. That's why. So where's TBLT? I'm waiting for it. Well, I'm waiting to get more if it comes down like 75 or less, 75 cents or less. I think they're going to get this thing back over a dollar very, very easily. Based on what they have in the pipeline, I think that this thing will be popped over a dollar. That's just my take. We'll see what happens. We kind of have a downtrend here on the 4 hour, so let me draw that in. It's kind of new from as of late. So we kind of have something like that forming on the 4 hour, so we got to break above that soon. We haven't been able to do so, which is not ideal, at least for right now. But this is one of those trades where there's multiple catalysts, at least in my eyes, that will catapult this one back on up. So I'm not really concerned with where it's at right now. Let it come down. I mean, let it come down. That's how I'm going to do it on TBLT. So what else? What else we got? Let's go OGen. But also, if you get a reverse split, a lot of times, like it stinks. Okay, like you could be in it and you could be in for a big drop, and it would stink. But the thing you can also play it for is, you can play it for like it gets that initial dip. And then we have the reverse split. It may pull back a little bit more, and then you can buy it then. And many times you'll see these stocks run, prior, after that split, after that reverse split, they'll run. I think we're seeing GLBS doing that today. So I'll look at that one next here. So OGen right now, this is kind of a decent type of, it's not like, obviously we have a downtrend, but look at these spikes. Like this is a spike from 60 to kind of 94. That's a solid gain. So we have this downtrend somewhat like that developing, testing it up here today. We're up we're just about even on the day. So what it looks like is we came down to 47. I'd like to see 50-ish hold, which it seemed to have hold for now. Today it dipped down to like 51. So let's see if it holds 50. If it can't hold 50, then it may be like, okay, let's look to reassess, and we'll play that again, if it finds support somewhere else. Like it wick down to 47 here, but I wouldn't be too concerned about wick down, especially that looks like it was pre-market too. So I would see if it tries to hold 50. Hold 50, that's a good sign. That's also generally a strong area of support with small caps, with pennies, generally. Am I adding the dips for ADMP? Yes, I am adding the dips for ADMP. It's down today. Let's take a look at where I will be looking to add. So I'm looking to add actually probably if it gets down closer to that, looks like upper 70s. Like if it kind of got down there today, like to upper 70s, but I'm looking for like a 78-ish. If it gets there, that's what I'm looking to add. It's actually consolidating right around this kind of prior area of resistance. So I think it's fine. It's pretty much holding up roughly on this prior area of resistance that we tested multiple times the past couple of weeks, which is a good sign. If we did drop below, that wouldn't be ideal. Also, this trend line kind of is a good idea, is solid that it's holding for now. This, I believe, what happened was, which it's actually really, it stinks because I think I was in like around here, like I had an initial average around like 99 when I first entered that position. Then I of course grabbed some more on the dips, so my average is like a little bit better. It's still not great, but it's a little better. But then we had this push up, awesome. And then we had, I think someone tweeted, I think we had someone who had a decent following on Twitter or StockTwits or something. Someone tweeted, if you know who that is, then you know who that is. But they tweeted in the morning at like 4 a.m. or something like that. And like, there's like no volume then. So the stock popped up to 133. I didn't have an order set, wish I did, but it popped up 133, immediately came right back down. So like at least the chart, on the hourly chart, it looks like it's thrown off. If we go back to the daily chart, it doesn't look that bad because the daily chart isn't showing the pre-market and the aftermarket hour stuff. So we're only seeing this move up to 106. So I think it looks fine. I mean, based off these higher lows that are developing on the chart, looking good. We have that PDUFA in November, early to mid-November. So that's a pretty big catalyst for these types of stocks. So it's uptrending for right now. I like it. I like the move to over this 106, and then we might be making moves towards that 130 and 140, 150 ideally. That's the thought. That's the 150. We break over that. That'd be awesome. I don't know if we're going to get it, but I'm playing it for something like that. For some, to take profits somewhere over this dollar between probably 125. Well, I have some orders at 127 in case we get a spike, or in case we get, a crazy tweet pre-market or something like that pops it up. So that's the idea. Let's see. Do you have a certain amount of money that you use in case you want to buy a stock, or are you putting some in? So what I pretty much will do is I will never buy something or like my full position at one point. So if what I do for this account, this is the account that we use here. I have a couple other ones. I have like a longer term one. I have like a super small one that I'll just use for like, I don't know. I have like a TD Ameritrade cash account that I'll use just for like random stuff if I ever like wanted to just, mess around. This is like the main one that I use here that I show on the channel, and I've shown the other ones maybe a couple times, like, back in the day, but this is the main one that I actually, if you follow along on the Saturday videos that are like trading stocks to 100,000, from 15,000, the goal is 100,000 by next September. So what I'll do is the account size, like right now, it's like 15, 16,000 or whatever it is. And so that 10% of that account is a max position, is a max swing position. Based on my risk management, based on how I generally like to do stuff, that's for me. And everyone's different. Some people may have 20%, 25%, whatever. And so for me, that's what I do. And then what I'll do is I'll add in chunks. So like think about it in like fourths, thirds, fifths, whatever you want to think about it, whatever kind of fraction is best and works best for you. But I will think about it like that. And so for example, for ADMP, I'm in right now with 900. So I'm in with like $900 ish, right? It's almost $1. So I'm in with like almost $900 or around $900. So I still have room. I still have like $600 that I could add. I could still add, $600 more to this position before I max it out based on my risk management as a full position. So I'll look to add on support. So it looks like we were breaking out. So I grabbed some on this breakout. We popped up. And ideally, if it continued the next day and it popped to like, 150, or 140, or even like that 130, if it popped there the next day, awesome. I'll be scaling out. But it didn't. It came back. And so I had some money saved up and ready to add. So I add some here, and I'm going to add some more here. If it holds a little bit further down, I'll add some more. Now it's 82 cents. So that's how generally I will do it. And it's not meant to be confusing, but that's how I'll do it. Because if you do it and you add it all at once, you better hope that average works out, and I don't think that that's the best way to go about things. And especially in the penny land, when you're talking about small caps, pennies, these things can just, many times we're looking at charts that are bottoming out or, holding up support, and, they can keep dropping. They can keep on dropping, and you don't want to be getting caught up in a drop. And what actually happened, I'll show you one example. HJLI, this guy I was decently in the past couple of days. So it was this spike. I actually had news. So it had news yesterday for this spike. But I was in it with like a 39 average, from like maybe back in here or something. And then what I did was I grabbed some more. So I got my average down a little bit more. The stock fell to 36, had news, and then it popped to 45. And so it actually made it it made it nice because it popped to 45, and then just like that, I was able to scale out with a decent profit. First, look at that. First donation. Appreciate that. What are your thoughts on the stimulus update talks? I appreciate it. So, stimulus update, what we have right now is we're going back and forth. We had that Tuesday deadline that we talked about in a couple videos back. I said this is going to move the market, whatever it was. So we had that deadline, and it really wasn't like a hard deadline. We kind of knew that. And so they pretty much tried to get more, progress going towards that agreement. They're saying they're making progress. But what's happening is we have, both sides that want to get a deal done, or they say they want to get a deal done prior to the election. And so getting that ball rolling, the idea is if they had an agreement by Tuesday and they pushed it now a couple days further. So I think it's like the end of the week now, honestly. They have an agreement paper, right, a verbal agreement by then. Then we'll actually get this potentially done and passed prior to the election. But it's looking less and less likely as time goes on, although I think a verbal agreement probably will come prior to the election. That's my guess right now, but we'll see. That's ultimately going to be, it's up in the air right now. It's like, you got to be kidding me how long this stuff has taken. But appreciate the donation. So what's my average in ETTX? 249, not selling for a loss. Okay, let me take a look at ETTX. Where is it? Okay, so what I have here, actually, yes, so I had this level, or this $2 area as a support level, but we fell below. The reason why I think I'm still in, I want to see what happens tomorrow before I either cut it or I add it, because personally, we had this dip down to 175, and so that's why I'm still in. I really wanted to see $2 hold. It didn't hold. And so, okay, unfortunately it didn't hold, but we're okay because we had this dip down to 175, so that's my final area, 175. Now, you could stay in. I don't really, you could stay in and look for other catalysts and stuff. But personally, to me, that 175's got to hold, or I will be out and look to reassess if it bottoms out somewhere else. It looked like it tried to bottom here at this too, but it kind of fell through. But again, 175 is at least that line in the sand for me. And we're holding up that 185-ish area. So we're holding up here. I just don't want to see us drop below 175. So I'm in for now, but pretty small, like a starter position for me right now, because I wanted to see how it goes before I add to this one. What do you think about GE? Let's take a look at GE. I was in GE. When I say in, I played it for this spike. So I was actually in it back in here, and I actually got out here. It came right back down, missed kind of this entry, this dip entry. It's popping up, so I like it. I mean, it's looking really good, actually, very strong. And it was one of those stocks that, was beat down, overly beat down during the beginning of the pandemic, and now it's starting to push on up. So we got to break above this 850. You break above and hold above this 850. There's a lot of gaps here. So when we see these gaps on the chart, it's up 5% for GE. That's pretty significant on the day. These gaps in the chart are great because we enter these gaps. Many times these gaps get filled. So you'll see from 887, right, this thing will pop probably to like 915, and it gets over, 975 probably to 10, and then $10 and stuff. Yeah, so that's the thoughts on GE. Let's see. Yeah, so it's pushing up. But that's the next area. This 200 SMA is the next area that at least we got to pop above. That could be another area of resistance. This 850, 825, 850 resistance, but we'll be, we're stair-stepping our way back on up, so it looks good. I wish I was honestly in because, I was in for this spike, and I guess I made a few percent on that, move, but here's the bigger move right here. So there's that. Let's take a look back to ADTX. ADTX is starting to perk on up again here. Let's look at the 1 hour. The 1 minute. So market's got 7 minutes or so left, and we got to push. I need like 15 more cents to get my next sell hit. So we'll see if that can happen in the next couple of minutes. Potentially after hours, we might get a little bit of a push up. Yesterday after hours, we hit 236. So there's that. KTOV is another one that's popping, or at least it's starting to get going. It has a little bit more volume today, it looks like. So the reason why I like this one, if we zoom in, look at this uptrend as of late, and we're kind of like, we have this 460 area that we got to get. We got also this 50 SMA that we're popping over, so we got to pop over this 460, 470, and then we move up. We break out of this area that's being held back for right now on KTOV. So that's that. XNET is one from earlier. I have a video on some Bitcoin related stocks that. Now, this is not a great correlation. I played Emma for that Bitcoin play earlier, but it's one of those Bitcoin-related stocks, and I'm waiting to see if it does get some attention. It had some green candles there for at least for some buying volume, so we'll see how this one plays out. If it does catch as a Bitcoin name, if it doesn't, it is what it is, and I'll be cutting it once Bitcoin kind of slows itself down and calms back. I think WTRH had news today, or they had some type of agreement or something today. I didn't like how it dipped. I was very close to cutting my position here, but I'm liking WTRH. Going back into the kind of winter months. Again, we have to get back above 3 though. We must get back above this $3 area because I didn't want us to fall below. But like I always do, I don't have a hard stop because number one, market makers or whoever, they'll see a hard stop or they'll see your stops and then they'll just hit your stops, take your shares and buy it in, buy it up if that's a stock that they want to, So that's the thing with these with the stop loss hunts and seeing that stuff. Appreciate it. $3 donation. Appreciate that. So with that all being said, we have this $3 level that we're looking at here for WTRH. I want to get it back above that. Let's see what else. Still holding JE. Yes, JE right here. So if you ever see and it's kind of like, I don't mean for this other things, I don't mean for the channel to become, here's that reverse split by the way, to become like a bias, these are the top stocks to buy right now. I want to turn it to more like watch or turn it to more to sectors, hey, these are some stocks I like in a certain sector, they tend to run. And so we're here's my thoughts. But if you see this on the side right here, these are the positions I'm in. If you see my positions, sometimes it'll be a different watch list, right? But these are my positions currently that we have. So if you see that, you might be able to catch, want to make a video, hey, he's in this, this, and this. Some people do watch that. Take it for however you'd like. I'm also managing the positions, how I manage them. So just because I'm in something does not mean to kind of handle it the same exact way. I kind of have my own plan, and I share a lot of those plans, of course, here in these videos and stuff in the live streams when you guys ask. I have no problem sharing the plans, but Don't just see it and go, oh, I gotta buy it. Like, this is, just be careful upon doing that. But I am still in JE. I want to see it hold 5, so I'm looking for it to hold 5. So right now it's holding 5. Reason why I kind of had this $5-ish area right here. He fell down to 410, but we'll see if we hold 5. It's a decently low split. So that's the thoughts. ETTX, yes, I would say personally. Here's my thoughts. We hold up. Well, now I'm gonna wait for tomorrow because I'm just gonna wait, give it one more day. We had these wick down in pre-market, and we kind of came down here. So what we may see tomorrow is it may wick down below that 175. If it wicks down below that 175 and then it holds below that level during the day, probably a no-go for me. Now, of course, it could have news or whatever. And if it does have news or there's, something like that going on, always kind of the risk when you leave a stock, right? There's always that kind of potential, right? So for me, you could look to grab some here if you have unlimited day trades. If you're not concerned about day trades, grab some, see how it goes. This is a decent spot, I think, to average down as long as it holds that 175. But it falls below 175 for me. That's an area that I'm going to say no-go, cut it, and it may let it fall back, let it kind of consolidate somewhere else. So, maybe it's 150, maybe it comes down to $1. We'll see what happens. My thoughts for ETTX. It looked great. So someone brought it up in the live streams, last time, and it was great. It looked great. It was coming down. It was like right in here. I was like, wow, this is a nice spot to add. And then it fell through. But again, also I've been noticing is that it's not just this stock. It's a lot of other pennies like WTRH. It fell through that 3. It was looking great until it fell through that 3. A bunch of others. NAKD, same type of thing. It was looking pretty good until it fell through 10. Now it had, kind of an F3, which is why we, it's starting around the corner, starting to come back a little bit. So we'll see if we can gain some strength with some of these stocks. That's the thing. We're waiting for them to start running, right? Again, and it's just been like, I think this election is throwing things off. So I think that's what's really been kind of holding us back for some of these plays. The chart setups are looking like they're there. So that's an idea. One idea I would say would be this. This is Carve. So here's an idea for the next couple of days, or maybe tomorrow. This may be tomorrow's play. Something like this kind of forming in here. We kind of have like what looks like an uptrend on the hourly chart. I might grab some Carve. Actually, market's about to close. I may grab some in anticipation of tomorrow, depending on some of the topics in the debate tonight. It's one of those stocks that likes to run. It ran around the time of the last debate a little bit, I think. It was like here's the day. It ran a little bit last debate, 29th, I think was the debate. Here's one. I'm looking at this one. I'm thinking if we fall below this like 670 area, I wouldn't be too happy. Maybe 650, but I'm looking for this for probably like this week. We'll see what happens, how it finishes and closes out the week. But that's my thoughts on Carve for at least for right now. So it's just potentially a little pop. VXX, like your volatility type of play, I'm starting to grab some. I have some because I'm thinking that we see some more volatility come election time, and it's a decent time to grab some, in my opinion. I preferably I wouldn't be playing a lot of these volatility like the VXX. I don't like to play them too much in terms of holding overnight, especially on like daily ETFs, because ultimately you're going to lose money if you do the math on and look up like what that means and how the ETF is how it works. You'll actually lose money. So they're great for like intraday, for options, or for intraday spikes and volatility. If the market's going down here, some hedges you can have. So it's kind of a hedge. If we have some crazy volatility, the market goes. The VXX is my current thought on a good hedge that I'll add to this position, and I'll grab some more here as we get closer to the election. And if nothing happens, if the election goes through, we have whatever the election goes kind of along, and it's just the market kind of does what it wants to do. And nothing crazy happens, that's it. You kind of move on. It's a hedge, though. I like it as a decent hedge. So, yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys for stopping by. I appreciate everyone for, hanging out. This is going to be a super chill. I'm going to be hanging out here for a little bit. No rush. ABIO was a $20 stock. I remember when we had it when it was 6, ran to 7. Time to get back in. Let me look. I haven't been in a while, but I remember. Here we go. So, it looks like. Yeah, so here, this one was like, honestly, this one really disappointed me. But it was a product of the timing. So the timing was just not ideal. So here's that run that you were talking about, the 22. Monster move. I forget exactly what the new 22 monster move. Then it came down. It was like, okay, right in here, I think was an entry, and it popped to like $8, and I was in it back then, and I didn't take I took some profit, but didn't take that much. And then it came back down. Okay. And then we had this news here's one news, here's another piece of news, here, and it was just like, the problem was it was August. It was the product of the summer, and pennies just absolutely just got crushed from that August to early mid-September, and even now they haven't really done incredibly well. So we see that right after it had this little spike, there was news, and then it popped up from like 680 to 850 or 8 whatever it was, 850ish, which is a decent percentage return. Don't get me wrong. And then it came, but everyone saw this 22 that it did last time. It was like, wow, why is it going to 22? Okay, it is what it is. It had to get back over this $9.30, $9.50, $10, and maybe it had a chance, but it just didn't catch the volume. People were, traders weren't at the time. And then it just came down to $3.99, and we see a $3.81. And right now we are still coming down, but what I would think is that if you're looking for an entry, you can look for like the low. Look for some of these lows in the recent weeks. And so a decent entry here would be under 4 with a mental stop under this 380. We fall below this 380. That's a decent mental stop. I actually don't know. I have to look. I'd have to go back and look a little bit further into ABIO in terms of what's their timeline for catalysts, because I remember they had certain catalysts that were due at certain points. We've gotten some pieces of news, but I would have to go back and see what's happening as of late to see if there's any certain timeline catalysts and stuff like that going on with them. So that's my thoughts on ABIO, at least for right now. Let me take a look here at SPY and see what it just done. So it finished up about 0.5% on the day. So let's see how it closed. So it closed, fairly strong on the day. Now, a couple of days, we actually can see a pretty clear downtrend. So we take a look at that. There's your downtrend, rough. So we're getting close to kind of breaking out of this downtrend. If we kind of come back up, back over this 345, 346 and hold up above here, we can look to be breaking out of this downtrend and, make a run back at all-time highs maybe next week. We'll see, maybe next week. But again, then we're getting close to the election. So it's like we're getting pretty close. We have next week, Saturday's the 31st, so then it's early the week after that, it's the election. So all-time high chances before the election are looking slimmer by the day, but you never know. We can still make a pretty good push next week, especially we get that stimulus news. That's kind of the wild card, at least I would say, going into the election. So we'll see what happens. MLND, let's take a look. MLND. Oh yeah, this is one I think I looked at too. It's bouncing. Look at this. It's bouncing. So we zoom out. It's bouncing pretty well. Let me take a look at the daily chart. Yeah, so we had this gap down. We had this the gap was mostly, or a decent chunk of the gap got filled. And then we're bouncing here off of this support here at that 150, which is a solid, when you see a support level at like a whole number or around like a round number, like that 149, 150 area, that's a good sign. Generally, it'll be a pretty strong, psychological, mental level. So now we have this high right here. So let's zoom in. 192. Okay, so 192 is the next level to beat. We break over 192. Then the next test is going to be $2, and then it looks like 214 we hit up here. So those are the next couple levels, but it's looking pretty strong. It's looking like it's bouncing pretty well. Now it's not a terrible spot if you were to have an entry, and then if it comes back on down, looking to add as low as 150, falls below 150. You cut it and you move on. That's just how you have to kind of think of it. But it has some potential here. It's pushed up to 360. This thing is pushed up. I don't know personally what the catalysts are behind it, but if it has catalysts as well, this looks like a solid chart. To me, this looks like a solid chart that's performing pretty well. It seems like it's got some decent, momentum, at least as of right now, off that 150 the past week or two. So it's looking pretty good. Let's see. Very, 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 very. Let's take a look at what we got going on here. Too choppy of a chart to me. So we'll see what happens. It's pushed up pretty decently lately since the beginning of September, but it's a very choppy chart. So personally, too low volume for me. But that's just my take on that. Just did a transfer from Robinhood to Webull. Do you mean like you had Webull transfer, or you took the money out of Robinhood, went to your bank, and then Webull? If you did that, you should actually, the money should be available, I believe, depending on your account. The money should be available to trade with, at least a margin account. they give you that access. If not, it should take a couple days, 2-3 days max. I haven't done that. I haven't done like a legitimate transfer from like account, like if I had stocks in like Robinhood to stop like transferring like that. I haven't done that before. I was thinking about doing it with an IRA from Fidelity to M1 Finance, but I didn't actually do it, so I don't know how long it takes. But I think it shouldn't take very long. It took a couple days. But again, if it's a transferring of stocks, I think that may take longer. I'm not sure. I think it's more complicated. But if you're just transferring cash, like if you sold everything out of Robinhood and you're transferring the cash over, it shouldn't take too long. It should be a couple days max. Sorry, I actually haven't eaten anything here. Kind of messy bagel. But we're going to hang out. No rush. So, I don't trade futures. I know people who do. I don't do it. At least for right now. Let's go back to SPY. See what SPY's up to after hours. So a full account transfer, that could take longer. I'm not sure. I haven't done that, so I don't know. I'm thinking max a week. Max, maybe? I mean, unless they have some backups, maybe like 10 days. I'm not sure. They should say. Or if not, I've had pretty good response times from Webull's support. So if you have an access to their support, send them an email and they should get back to you pretty quick and be able to tell you, how long generally it takes. Generally, it shouldn't be too bad. So let's see. This is ADMP popping up a little bit, but this is just like, it's funny. You always got to look at time and sales, because this is always, you may see like on your phone if you're looking on your account, or you may see somewhere like, oh yeah, like this stock is up like 5%, or it's up here. You look at time and sales, like we closed the day at like 81.26, right? That's where we closed the day. Well, we actually got 5,000 shares that went through at 83.88. So there you go. But sometimes you'll see like one share go through at 83.50, and you're like, okay, like one share, like it's essentially, you can see some volatility like that in after hours for some of these stocks. I wouldn't get too concerned about it. But 5,000 shares is decent, it's decent. So it looks like someone had a 5,100 or so shares go through. Would you pick to invest in NIO or SBE? Well, first of all, I like NIO from everything that I have seen. Less familiar with SBE, but I have looked at it. So here's NIO. Let me look at the 4-hour chart, and we'll get a better sense for NIO. So NIO is doing this very similar thing that it's been doing. It makes these pushes, and then it consolidates, makes a push, consolidates. Like it's been doing that. Like look at this here, boom. But we're not seeing higher lows develop, so that's potentially a weakness to the downside. I like NIO, and I think I had a trend line. I don't know, maybe we will trash my trend line, or maybe I got rid of it for whatever reason. I had a trend line in here, and I can kind of do something, or I can draw something in here in a sec. Let me go on in trend lines in the daily a little bit better. So I'll go here. I'll draw something maybe from like here. Maybe I'll take it from this area right here, and I'll take it right off of these little touches of the trend line. So I would like to see it come down to this like low 20s personally, but personally that's what I want to buy NIO, but I want to see it come down a little bit. It's pretty overextended. SBE, energy acquisition. So it broke out of this downtrend, popping on up. Okay. I would prefer to see a little bit more history, but we can also draw somewhat of an uptrend here too. Oh, it's just rough. It's never perfect, but it's rough. So okay, hitting this uptrend or hitting this level would be decent if we can hold that, and then that could be a decent entry, like 15-ish, low 15s. So like, close to where it's at right now is not a terrible entry. I like both. I do, but the thing is, I'm worried about with like someone like SBE is I'm worried about like a sell-off personally, and I'm honestly worried about like, not worried, but like I would not be surprised to see a lot of these stocks that have made some pretty big runs. NIO, Workhorse, we saw HYLN pretty big sell-off. Appreciate it. Appreciate the donations. Appreciate it. So we have 1540 right now. We've dropped down to after hours 1594. We're pushing up a little bit. So we'll see I don't know. I like this. I like this right now, probably a little bit better than NIO. But again, I would not be surprised to see a sell-off bring us back down. And who knows, if this plays out like something like SPAQ or like a bunch of those other SPAC plays, this could pull back pretty big headed into that time period. So that's what I'm concerned with for SBE. I would like, those are two plays. I think those two do line up with more longer term plays. Less short term, you can scalp them here and there, but less short term, more longer term. Now, what I want to look at, let's take a look at, let's look at VBIV really quick. VBIV vaccines. Let's see. 200 SMA. We're holding up along that 200 SMA for right now. Let's see. That's to be the area. This 240, 250 area that we were holding up. This is that we want to see hold up well for right here. We hold up around there. That should be a good sign. If not, down to like $2, I would say would be like the next area of entry. I don't know the catalyst again here. I'm not super familiar with this stock. I've seen it. I've looked at it a bunch of times, but I'm not super familiar with this stock. So with that said, it's not like when I know like there's a catalyst, or when I know, hey, there's a deadline, or they got this, like ADTX, that emergency use authorization, right? I know that, right? And there's not going to be a million stocks that I'm going to have in my, on my positions, because you don't want to be too spread thin. I prefer to kind of focus in on a couple ones. They hit, they do well, boom. Like, those are some solid plays that, can really change, can turn the account around. Appreciate it again, another donation. I'm going to hang out for a while, so we'll be here. We'll just be chilling, hanging out, throwing any more questions. I'll be looking at stuff. At least my account challenge this week is not looking great, because a bunch of the stocks I'm in have just been ticking down. We got some news, but we didn't get, we've had until it hit that level, it kind of hurt me. It drained me. But it is what it is. That's how you kind of have to react and assess kind of the conditions of the market and move on. If you can't react and, you can't handle the market conditions and stuff like that, that's the ultimate. That's what's going to kind of keep you progressing. If you can't, if you can't adapt, it's really what it is. Personally, no new swings really. Carve is probably my next, my newest swing. Yeah, that's what Carve would be the one. Carve would be the newest one on my list right now. We kind of have this uptrend, hold this 50 SMA. 50 SMA would probably be my cut point. So we drop below that, I'm out. With the debate tonight, I appreciate another donation. Thank you. A little Linda Pinda. So we'll see what happens. I'm looking for this potentially to be a play for the debates. Depends upon some things that come up, some topics, some things like that in the debate. But it is what it is. So Carve is the play that I'm in now. I bought some VXX, kind of a hedge in case we have some more volatility, in case we get some major sell-offs in the market. So what happened with VXX a few weeks back, we kind of bottomed out at this 24 area and then spiked pretty hard for like a day or two. A couple days, we started trending up. Market was going up, but VXX was moving up, which generally is not good. They're reversed. So if the market's going up, you should see VXX or some volatility kind of stocks or ETFs. They should be dropping off. So that was kind of interesting. So I bought some there, played a little spike, sold it, and now I'm rebuying just in case of the election. I made a video on it before talking about some of the stocks I'm looking at for something like that. But that's my plan. Let's see, Emmanuel. Oh wow, a lot of shares of NIO. Damn, that's a lot. Do you do any day trades in market open? So personally, when I take day trades, actually this week I took two. I'll talk about them more more in depth in the Saturday video, the trading stocks to 100,000 that I do that series, which is, unless we have a miraculous day tomorrow, we're gonna have a red week. But the 2 day trades I've taken have been green. They were nice. I day traded MARA, which I'll talk about here in a sec. I know we have a Riot Mara question. I traded that, and then I also traded, what did I do today? Today I traded something else. I traded, let me find it what I traded today. I was not NAKD, it was Mara. We had Mara pushing up, and then I traded something else. Let's push up to the P&L for the week. Oh, it was UONE. I'll actually pull it up really quick. Urban One had news. That's why it had news. So it's sometimes I love the pre-market for these types of day trades because number one, it's like you can get a lot of volume flowing in. And what happened was I grabbed this dip right here. So We popped up to 630. I grabbed this dip. Actually, I think I grabbed it close to the VWAP, which were like around $6, and then I sold it like literally like 2 minutes later for like 625, 640, and then I took it was a smaller position, but I sold it there. So it's like a super scalp. If it caught, I held some. So if it caught on, like sometimes you'll see like, you have this initial pop, you have a dip, you kind of holding up, and then we pop back on up. So if it catches and it goes, then what you'll see is like, then okay, like you can do well, and you can really you can really go, but it didn't, and so it kind of just consolidated, and so I got out. It was a quick little scalp, but that's that. In today's video, I went over the earlier video from today, the Bitcoin stocks. I went over my day trade on MARA, which that'll be a nice little transition into that stock. So it today is looking pretty decent. It was up today because I think yesterday it closed. Let's see what happened. Let's zoom out. So yesterday it closed 280-ish area. So it was up decently today. Came down to 271. That was a decent dip. Closed at 305. So what I want to look for here is see what Bitcoin's up to. So here's where you're going to look for that. I think you can actually see a break. We might even see this like very, very soon while we're going here on the stream. So yeah, awesome. Trade UONE. I'm looking to start like a shorting kind of a strategy on some of these stocks too, but we'll see. Well, that's the case. That's true. That's for sure. So here's Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's pushing up right now. So we may be looking to break out of the prior highs from, this is yesterday. This is earlier today. Earlier today, like we had these. Oh, look, there it goes. We had a new high. So Bitcoin's pushing up right now, which we should see. We should see a lot of these stocks follow. And look at it, Bitcoin's like really pushing up. So these stocks should start to follow. So MARA right now at 305 after hours. It should potentially, break that 305 and it pop up. Reason we have a little bit of a resistance here at 305. 5,000. We have a decent size here, so we'll see. NXTD is another Bitcoin play that it's up today. Riot's a little bit up after hours, or Riot's pushing up with Bitcoin right now. DPW a little bit, not as best of a correlation there, to be honest. An catch, but if we see more of a continuation, look at this, and Bitcoin's like ripping right now. So it's up 14% right now. This is good. So this is a good sign. So now, if I go back to the 1 hour chart, we still, for right now, based off of today, okay, we're up. We still have to break back over this high this is yesterday. We break back over yesterday's high, which it looks like we have significant strength. We popped up, and then we're coming back, and it looks like we're having a nice, strong move back on up. We'll test that, if not break through. That will really be the catalyst for a bunch of these plays, probably again tomorrow. At a minimum, I think they're really solid day trades. Sure. So MARA is back at 305, so we're getting some volume in. Not much, very, very low volume, at least for right now after hours, so we'll see. Oh yeah, but when it comes to like day trades at market open, that's a good time to do it. But again, with a lot of the stocks, the pennies and stuff that I play, it's very, very volatile. Now you can totally do it, but it's very volatile, so I generally stay away from that market open because I haven't had as much, I guess, success in consistency in trading that. That's just my thoughts. DPW, let's take a look at what it's been doing, but it's kind of trying to bottom out here around, I want to see it get back above 2, but these will be plays that what's going to happen. Here's like what you'll generally see. If we continue to get further breakouts and further pushes up on Bitcoin, which, if we continue to see things like that, then people are going to be looking for plays, right? So you have your usuals, you have your Mara, you have your Riots, you have your usuals, but then people are going to be like, okay, like, where's the other one? Like, where's that unfound play? So then people are going to look to stocks like DPW. They're going to look to XNET. That's my thought, right? And then they'll probably find some other ones that like have some slight correlation, maybe. And other companies now will probably start, issuing press releases, and they'll throw in Bitcoin, or they'll throw something in about crypto, or they'll do something like that. And then people will see that in the headline. Boom, that'll catch, and those stocks will run. So you're going to probably start to see that if Bitcoin continues to stay strong. It has to stay strong. If it's gonna come back up, test this level and start coming back down, then it might not. But look at this. Look at the daily chart. We really are gapping up. We're really pushing. The weekly chart's what I'm looking more concerned about. So we really got to start making some pushes. If we get over 14, then I think the fireworks will be beginning. But this could be a great play for. Let's see what happens tomorrow. Watch Bitcoin tomorrow, and then what'll happen will be like Friday. I'll probably do the same thing. Depending on what's going on, I might take some speculative trades like across a couple Bitcoin plays throw a couple lines in the water in case we get nothing too much, but in case we get a massive push over the weekend in Bitcoin and we wake up Monday and like sometimes you'll wake up Monday and like what's the theme of the week? Like we don't really have a theme for the week, right? What's, either there's, sometimes we had those riots, we had the riot plays, and we had, drone plays, right? Then we'll have the EV plays based off of certain news, like Tesla's battery day, right? That sparked a ton of battery EV plays, right? So, then all of a sudden a China stock goes and then China stocks start running. So we start to see like, we need like a theme to kind of start and catapult things for the week. So that's what we're looking for. And Bitcoin may be going to next week. If Bitcoin stays strong on the weekend and breaks out, potentially pops on up over 14,000, then yes, that could be the theme come Monday morning. We won't even need to see press releases from a bunch of these penny stocks or whatever. It'll probably just be Bitcoin plays first. And then depending upon how press releases come out, depending upon certain stocks with other news, then it could change after that. But that's my thought, at least for right now. So we'll see. Let's see. Riot's trying to push a little bit. Yeah, it hit a little bit of a little pop up there. So we'll see. Bitcoin, we zoom in again. Bitcoin 1 minute, pulling back, but it hit that little new high. So we're testing up on these levels. It's showing some strength for sure. Higher lows looking like they're developing here. So it's a good sign. I like the sign that we have going on. Predictions on SPY towards the upcoming election and after, suggestions on how to find right setups, a good volume, volatility. Options, yes. So options is not like my prime. Like I'll trade them here and there when I really like something. But I'm waiting for the election to see what happens because I think ultimately either we're going to get some good dips or we may see some rips. I don't know. It depends. You're going to see a lot of different plays probably push up, but I think with a lot of larger caps, with a lot of option type of plays that you'd be playing options on, I'm gonna go out on a limb and guess. My best guess would be a dip. I think we'll see a pullback to some degree, whether because we have election day, right, which is Tuesday. So we have the Tuesday election day, but what if it's close and the results aren't all finalized come Tuesday night? Wednesday could be a massive volatile day, disaster, up, down, who knows, depending upon a lot of different factors and depending upon even this debate tonight. If they have some more talks about certain topics, you may see certain areas heat up. Like if we get some more talk about renewable energy, right, that may heat up. I know we have a bunch of renewable energy plays. I know Biden, is pretty big on that. So if we get some talks on that, and again, also, if we have the results after this debate, because I know these places, these news outlets, they'll put out who won the debate, right? That's of course, it's all relative, right? But they'll put out who won, and what happened last time is that when they said that Biden won, we saw a dip, and then it came back, and then it was like, the market will kind of be all over the place, but then what they talk about will spark some plays. So that's what I'm looking for personally. It's really, my prediction would be a pullback on SPY personally, but again, who knows? It depends how people are taking it. I know the stimulus is going to be a whole other thing because we know we have the stimulus kind of talks right now. So if we get the stimulus news, right before the election, right, it's passed or we have a verbal deal or whatever, I think that's going to send the market up. And so that may kind of negate any, significant pullbacks. I don't know. That's what I'm thinking, at least for SPY, at least we're going to the election. So we'll see. Bitcoin, yeah, I have some long term. I don't touch it. I just have some, and that's it. BKY ran last time the day after the debate. Yeah, so that's the type of stuff that you want to be looking for. So BKYI, let's go back and find that because it actually got some attention here today too. So here's the day. So it ran on I think it was probably news that happened on the 8th. So we go back and see BKYI. What you want to do is literally just go back and look and see, what happened last time. And these are some good stocks to be watching. BKY, a little spike here. This is a stock that's had tons of spikes. So when it kind of finds and starts to find a bottom, I like BKYI. They like to put out news. They're pretty solid. They're a solid scalp news play. So you could probably get a couple % on a scalp or on news or something if they haven't put out news in a while. And that's good. So they're trying to bottom out, consolidate here on that 40-ish, 45, low 40s. So it's a decent spot, I think, for right now. So, and it seemed like it got a little attention here at the end of the day. It started getting some volume. So people may have been onto something like, hey, last time it ran, let's grab some here in case we do it again. That's, and we start to see people start to think ahead. And that's key. Being ahead of the curve when it comes to a bunch of these plays is obviously ideal. That's what you want to be doing. Like, that's how you're going to capitalize the most. You can day trade stuff and you can be in and out and all that, but if you're someone who can swing and be in before the news, before the big move, that's ultimately like that's where the real money, like the big time money is made there. At least in a lot of the stuff that I've seen. Most of the small caps I've seen. Yeah, I know. SPAC is breaking my heart too. Henrik Fisker is breaking my heart because the guy keeps tweeting in damage control, and he just keeps tweeting and tweeting and tweeting, and I'm just like, you know what? It's not a bad idea just to stop, to get to work and just let the actions speak for themselves. And that's kind of the approach that it seems like, at least, that Hyliion, Thomas Healy, the CEO of Hyliion, has. So let me look at HYLN really quick, and we'll talk about a bunch of these. I don't know. Was there news? If anyone knows, was there news on Hyliion today? It looks like there may have been because the volume was kind of just bland until it looks like around a little bit in the afternoon we started spiking on up. So there had to be something. Either somebody tweeted something or there was some news somewhere. It has to be. We were at 22 earlier today. Pushed to 25, so there's that. My question is going to be, do we hold up? Can we keep pushing? Or do we kind of find this area to be resistance and we pull back? I don't know. That's what we'll see. Institutions to come back in. Okay. I wouldn't be surprised. All it takes, though, also, that's the thing. All it takes is for it to hit someone's scanner, and we see some bigger orders, some bigger blocks come in, and we see that, and then, it starts popping on up. It starts getting some attention, breaks a new high of the day, and then boom, it gets some attention. People start buying back in. They start finding it again. And they say, hey, this stock is down pretty low from where it was. It was just at 58 a couple weeks back. Yeah, that's and it gets bought up. So I'm not surprised. I was waiting. I was like, if it comes at the pace it's going, I was like, it's going to come down to 20. I'll buy some more at 20. And I missed that opportunity. If it runs from here, if it comes back down, I'll take it. But if it runs from here, it runs from here. We'll see. Bagel's getting cold. I am not familiar with the wick-off theory. VRYYF. Not available on Webull. So I don't know. This is a little space kind of play. When you have no continuous movements, no volume. This is funny. When you look at something like this, if I go to Heikinashi, it'll completely show a different story. That's what's funny about looking at different candle styles. Everyone's different on what they like, but I like my my candles for now. I was using Heikinashi for a little bit, but needs to have a hide option so that if you don't want to look anymore at a stock, I can hide it. SCKTB earnings jumping now. Well, let's take a look. Actually, I gotta change my top gainers to the after hours here. What are we doing? That's gonna give it a second to kind of set up and reset here. Where'd it go? Socket Mobile. Boom! Look at that. Let's look at the 4 hour. Wow, it's popping up. It was, this is a decent play that had some bottoming out here in low ones. Started uptrending. And, look at that. Now it's up 62%. Look at that. So, and there you go. That's a pattern that I like too. That I like to use when it comes to day trades. I know I don't do them very often. It'll be like a pop off of let's say you have news like this where you have beat earnings, right? So you pop, you come back and you hold up around VWAP. And then you give your second go. So really, a double bounce off VWAP is good, double bottom type of a deal, which seems to happen around this 195-ish area, and then boom, go. So that's a pretty good spot. Now it's a good because if you have a VWAP sitting here, let's say you have VWAP sitting at $2, and you wick below, and let's say you had a stop loss here, at 194 or 197, you get taken out, and then you miss the bigger run. So you got to be careful. And there's a fine line to that you have to kind of draw. It's a fine line that you got to play between mental stops, hard stops, because like, okay, well, certain volatile stocks like this, I can have a mental stop, which is cool, and if it goes below a certain level, but you got to make sure you honor your mental stop. But then also, if you have a hard stop, it's very easy to wick down below it, get taken out, boom, So you have to be careful. That's why I'm always very careful when it comes to stops. So we'll see if it can pop above here. This is 245. It seems to be the next area that we're trying to push above. Let's see. Here's your area of prior resistance that we came up to after a recent run, a couple of months back. Had a bounce here from like 2 to 240-ish. So now we're trying to clear that area right now, and we're struggling to clear it. MDLY just announced a 110 reverse split. And that's a danger too with that. You'll get that pullback. That's why certain stocks like NAKD, I think it's going to happen at some point. We're going to get that reverse split. And so maybe you get a run prior, maybe you get news, so you get lucky, or you'll get the reverse split. You'll get a sell-off, and then they have the split, maybe a further sell-off, and then it'll eventually run. This used to be a fun one to play back in the day, I guess. For some runs, I used to play it a lot back around $1, but now it's down under 10 cents. Thoughts on SBCE FAA approval? That's the thing. These are the types of. I played this one a while ago, but these are the types of kind of hype plays that are cool because this is the day and age that we're in. These are honestly as much of it as it sounds dumb to be investing or trading something like this. I would say more so trade. It's more so a fun trade because trading the hype. Okay, you can be in, you can get out. That's it. But if you're going to be investing, you got to make sure that you're really in it for the long haul, and that's where like SPAQ. The idea initially for me was a hype trade. Play the hype. Play the merger, run up the hype. We saw that with Nikola. We saw that with Hyliion. Other ones. We saw that. We saw the hype. And it worked. The strategy works with those SPACs until it doesn't, and now it seems like it's not. So now it's become, okay, the more I look into it, the more research I've been doing, and the more I see, the more I honestly like it. The more I honestly like it long term. And so that's a long-term investment. There's two different mindsets, though. Trade versus long-term investment. I mean, from the brief looking, I'm not in SBCE. I'm not in it long-term. I'm not in it short-term. But I used to play it. I played this move. I think this is around the merger. I played this pop to, I think, 12 something. So it was like post-merger, around the merger. I played that. That was a year ago. Wow. That literally is a year ago from like now, which is nuts. Like when I didn't even know like what these types of stocks were. No idea what I was doing, but that was fun. So we're trying to, we have some higher lows at least on the daily developing right now. We're trying to bounce here. This is an area of consolidation that I wanted to see if we can pop above. So we're holding up for right now. So that's a good sign on this. I think $20 will probably be a solid area, solid line in the sand. If we hold $20, that's a good sign, at least for right now. So we'll see. And then ultimately for me, I would like to see it come back down to this trend. So personally, like that would be the ideal entry for me. Although is it going to happen? Probably, probably not. But the thing with an FAA approval play, you get some hype into something like that. You get enough attention, you get enough eyes on something like that. This will go. And stuff a chart like this that went to 42. This could certainly go. So I don't know that much about it. I don't want to give you I don't want to kind of lead you the wrong way. But for me, very, very technical based. Like the technicals have to line up pretty well. So an entry here for me, it's like, unless I have a fundamental reason or there's a specific kind of reason why, okay, like by this date, I know there should be something coming soon. That's what I would be getting in for. But if there isn't something like that, then the chart has to look good. I'll play stuff based off of the chart, based off of a balance, a breakout, or something like that. High reward, low risk. If there's no news that I'm seeing, I'll enter on something like that without even looking too deep into the company or anything. But Ultimately, if I'm going to play something like this, I would need to know a little bit more about what's going on behind the scenes here. In my non-financial advisor opinion, what are the top 3? I'm looking for growth stocks. Well, if you're looking for growth stocks, now it depends, okay, on what you mean. If you're looking for like a buy and hold long term, or if you're looking for like a short term solid plays that I think are solid, short term penny stock type play, a little higher risk than your growth stock or your bigger name apples and stuff like that. But I like TBLT as my favorite right now, and I'll just quickly go over why. So earnings in November, early November, I believe the 12th, 11th, or it should be like early mid-November, something like that. Actually, I don't know if there's a date announced yet, but last earnings was good. We've been seeing selling out on Amazon. Their products have been selling out on Amazon. It's not like a random like biopharma. This is like a legitimate home improvement kind of company. They actually like have like legitimate products. So I can honestly pull it up here. Let me go to Tough Built Amazon. I'll go to Tough Built on Amazon, and we'll actually literally just look at this stuff right now. So here, this is like, there we go. I know it's kind of random how we're just looking at this, but this is why. So this is their brand. They're Tough Built, Shop Tough Built, and so they have this home. They're like this home improvement. They kind of have knee pads, bags, saws and stands and all that type of stuff. And the thing is that the idea behind this play is that virus. People are home. People are doing more of this home improvement type of work, and they've been selling out. If you are looking at some of the listings on Amazon, they've actually been selling out. They're like low, only 5 left. If you look at some of these, some of them have been restocked. Some of them are like, oh, there's only a couple left. 17 left in stock. Order soon. Like that's a good sign. When you see that on Amazon, like, that's a good sign. And so I was seeing a bunch of that. Like that's a good sign. And on top of, they also just got put into lows. So for me, it's like a conviction trade that I think under $1 is temporary. I think the stock will be trading over $1 very soon in the near future. Whether we get a run to earnings, I don't want to say I would hold through earnings, but earnings could be the catalyst that spikes it, so we'll have to see how that goes. Or a PR in advance of that, that they're in lows, that they're selling out in, on Amazon. There's something like that. There's increases in quarter X, whatever. A PR like that. They're also potentially getting into thermal imaging, which is another hot sector as well. So we kind of have all that stuff going. And that's kind of my thought as to why I like TBLT. So there's that. That's my thought. People like Fubo. People like Fubo for a decent. I got some at like $9, and I'm up significantly on that. On that position on Fubo. It's kind of a speculative, like longer term trade. So it's not in this account, but I bought some there in a different account for like the long term. See how that goes. See how Fubo goes. If I had to pick outside of that, what I personally like is I like dividend. I like solid dividend plays. And then if I had to go into like, which is like your AT&T, your solid dividend stocks. But if I really had to go into like growth stocks, where I see the most growth, I see a lot of growth in some of these SPACs. I really do. I honestly like some of these SPACs. So like SPAQ, now it's not the best entry, but if we get going and if things kind of turn around, this is like probably my number one that I want to be here. I want to be the guy in here at the ground floor of SPAQ. And I think you have a unique opportunity to do that in some of these SPAC plays. SPAQ is one. Another really cool technology kind of company that I would think is like a cool one long term, PIC. So what they're doing with PIC is like they're creating, this is on their SPAC play. So they're creating a technology that could be like a hybrid, offer like a hybrid option for like fleet vehicles. So like, let's say you have like a fleet of like Ford F-150s or whatever you have, like a fleet of like, work trucks. You can have their technology, which will turn the truck hybrid, like 25 to 50% hybrid vehicle. And so that's awesome. So you'll save, it'll be increase your miles per gallon, your green impact, right, on the environment and everything. But then on top of that, you still have the full reliability, the full effects of the truck, right, of the horsepower of the truck. So you're not really sacrificing the heavy duty type of work or the heavy duty type of truck kind of like aspect to the truck, but you also are adding kind of that hybrid option, or you're adding that hybrid to already vehicles we already have on the road. So that's an interesting area too. And for a stock that's trading at $10. I mean, there's some solid opportunity there. And then my next pick would probably be another one that I like a lot. Now, I wouldn't say I have a top 3. NIO is another one too. I want to see pullbacks, but I think longevity-wise, long-term, their cars, their company, this is a China-based company, so take it however you want, but this is like, a pretty close kind of like competitor in a sense to Tesla. So you take a look at, of course, everyone's going to have their opinion on everyone's going to say, oh no, look at this. Yes, I understand. But if you have Tesla doing what they're doing, and you have NIO, at least for right now, based in China, this is a stock that's under $30 right now. I mean, this is the future. This is the future. I mean, this is like they're standing out as like becoming that company, like the Tesla of China. So this is a stock I think is solid. I think is a solid growth play. EV space I'm very, very bullish on, although it's gotten a lot of hype lately. So the reason why I kind of have some kind of hesitation there is like I want to see a little bit more of a pullback in some of these plays, some of the EV plays. Some of them, like SPAQ, are offering potentially, if SPAC becomes, and really can, turn themselves into something, like legitimate in the next couple of years, they're taking a unique approach. So I like that potential. It's speculative, but if you're looking to kind of, risk it in a sense, on something like that, you could see massive returns. But ultimately for me, I like to trade stuff. I have like a longer term swing / investing account, and then if I really want something like safe, like an IRA, I'm looking for dividend stock. I like a lot of REIT plays. I like Realty Income. I know right now, obviously not the most ideal time to begin like real estate to REITs, but I love Realty Income. They have a monthly dividend. You build a nice solid position in this guy, and it can pay you monthly. It could pay you nicely every single month. You compound that. You rebuy shares with that dividend every single month. You buy fractional shares depending on your broker if you have that option. This is a beautiful income producer, and that's like the more safe stuff. I like the income producers, solid stocks, and then of course you can look to your stocks like Apple. You can look to your stocks like Amazon. But I mean, those are everyone's gonna talk about those. So I like safety on that. Other than that, I've seen I've seen it enough. I've been able to produce decent percent returns that. Why would I, I'm not looking to just park my money in like an ETF. I mean, you can if you want something safe, but, and I recommend that for some people, but for me, I like the more kind of the higher, somewhat higher risk, but I also situate my looking for low risk entries, high reward type of plays. I don't know. That's just my take on all this stuff. If you want safety, you want reliability, invest in a solid dividend producer, like something like Realty Income, that's going to pay you monthly. I'll take a look at Huge. Let's take a look at Huge. Huge is down. Huge. Let's on the back. Oof. I mean, I know people have been playing this one, but it's down like you gotta wait for it to find something. I want to see it find the bottom. I don't want to play. I'm not going to try to catch the knife. So like in a situation like this, right, where we had this kind of like 250-ish area held up, popped up here to like 425, and then we kind of trickled down. And it wouldn't be bad to get an entry or try to get an entry as close to $3 as possible down towards that 250. And then what do we see like soon after that? We kind of held up. We found some support, held up a little bit, consolidated a lot more. Boom, had news, popped. Same thing here. Boom, popped. And now we've just kind of been bleeding, and so I don't like seeing too much blood like that. I want to see more of a consolidation before we pop up. And also, we've been getting rejected by this 50 SMA pretty well on the daily chart, so that's not a good sign for right now. We got to get back above that guy. I'm not a huge fan of that. I'll look at Fubo actually, because I am in it in another account. Speculative. Oh, whoa! What's going on here? It's popping. It's popping 360. Was there news on Fubo? Let's see. And this is like, I mean, I have a scanner as well I'll use. Oh yeah, here we go. 4:30 p.m. Fubo launches updated multi-view feature on Apple TV. There's the news. Popped. So there you go. If you are not in need of like, I need my news like right now, I don't know. If you're not in like, if you don't need a scanner, you don't need to have news the second it comes out, your shoe should just be fine being able to find it from platforms like Seeking Alpha if you're aware of it. If you need it, if you're someone who's looking to actively day trade and you're taking it to the next level, yeah, something like a more news scanner would be better for you. Personally, you probably need to have that, to be honest, if you're looking to be an active day trader. We got we had a slight connection blip now, but it says excellent, so we're good. Let's see. What's on the bagel? The bagel currently has a little bit of cream cheese and some strawberry jam. There you go. Also an everything bagel. So, it's good. QD for months. Let's take a look. Now it's looking pretty good. Because we see some volume coming in. We perked above that 50 SMA. Now we're really trying to push above it. So that's a good sign. I don't personally know what their catalysts are here, what they have. But it looks like that 125 is your support. So right now you're sitting at 148. You know, you're in a decent range from what under 150 looks like a decent ad spot. You break above this 50 SMA, you can get a quick pop here to what looks like, $2. Unless there's some news, this thing can pop to 3. So I'm looking for that 50 SMA break. 200 SMA will be probably another resistance area, along with some of these tops. So just before $2, and then if you get news that'll pop it through, it could pop, certainly past that. The chart doesn't look bad. It's really trying to find, it's finding a bottom. So if you know the catalyst, if you have catalyst in mind, or you have catalyst based on prior news, looking a little bit deeper into some of the filings, and yeah, this is I think this is a solid risk reward type of play right now for sure. IVR, solid dividend stock. Let's take a look at IVR. IVR is bottomed. It looks like it's bottomed out. This thing is bottomed. Let's see. 5 cents a share dividend on the 8th. Ex-dividend date was the 8th for IVR. So, bottomed out here at like at least for now, it looks like it's trying to bottom like 250-ish area. So that's a decent spot. I don't know much. I don't know too much about it, but I know that we can look at the chart. We have some significant spikes. 250 seems like a strong support for right now. Other than some of these wicks down, I think 250 is a solid support. We had some significant spikes back up to 850. That's a pretty big move. But again, this thing got crushed. Pandemic crushed it. So this could be one of those plays where I don't know. I'm not super familiar with it, but it could be one of those plays that's a great recovery play. Now, I made a video about explaining my thoughts on the recovery, but I think you have a couple. I mean, everyone, if you have any thoughts as well, leave them in the chat. But we have a bunch of hurdles, I think, before we get to any play in these recovery stocks. Because for me, the hurdles we have stimulus right now, we have the election, so that should get ironed out soon, hopefully. That's the idea. But then we're also seeing massive upticks in Europe on cases, the virus, and everything. So we're seeing massive upticks. That's not good. So with that all said, again, also, we got to take into account that potential change in the presidency too. We may see different restrictions. We may see different kind of standards and protocols put in place, which could be good or bad, for some of these virus recovery, pandemic recovery type of plays. So I don't know. That's what we're going to have to see. That's what I'm watching. So I would wait until let's get through the winter. I think it's going to get worse before it gets better for sure. And then let's see what happens as we get into the spring. Do we have the vaccine? And that's another thing. Do we have the vaccine? We can have a vaccine, but then if we don't have it widely adopted, if people don't take if the vaccine's there, but it's not required, or you're gonna have people who are like, nah, I'm not gonna take that, I'm not doing that. And so it's okay, I understand where you're coming from, but at the same time, that's also potentially going to hinder the recovery. So you're gonna have issues no matter what, and that's why I'm going to be kind of waiting on those stocks. This one offers a potential for a massive recovery if things do get back to normalcy at some point, right? Which I don't know. Who knows if we're going to ever have some normalcy at this point? Who knows? See, Curl F. Let's take a look at Curl F. Let's take a look. Popping up. It's actually looking pretty decent as of right now, but it's free. It's based on the unless I know like catalyst. I like stuff with catalyst personally. So this has got to get, you know, it's breaking out. It seems like it's trying to break out of this 975. So it's got to get some another push on up or hold this 950. And so right now, let's see if it holds this 925, 950, holds that as support and makes a further run. It can make the run at these highs. So that's a solid one, I think. Let's see, TRSSF. Ooh, this one's making a monster recovery off of this 119 kind of bottomed out. Let's see. No, you're good. Let's take a look at the. Let's take a look at this website. I'm gonna sense. I mean, that's one thing you gotta always watch. I think these are cannabis plays. Okay. Now, someone I actually had. It's funny. Someone was commenting back and forth on my recent video on. I had a video going over like cannabis type plays, and they're like penny stocks. And so my thoughts was like, okay, like the idea behind them is that I've played these stocks before and I know that they run when you get that sector hot. And these look like they're a little bit stronger right now for sure. But I'm like, you know, it was trying to say that they're terrible picks. I'm like, dude, like I'm not saying that you buy and hold these picks. If I ever have a video going over, you know, Bitcoin penny stocks, like Bitcoin penny stocks, like that I have today, that there's a specific time that you're looking at those stocks, right? There's a specific time. Like right now is a time that you know, you're watching them. You're day trading them, you're scalping them, you're playing them, you're short-term swinging them on the runs. But when Bitcoin comes back down or cools off, or when things cool off eventually, they'll come back down. Like they're not good long-term investments. Most of these stocks are not good long-term investments. They really aren't when it comes to like pennies, low floats, small caps. But they can be traded. The whole point is that they can be traded on a shorter term time scale, and you can make significant returns because I've seen them before, and traders also have that list too. And when other traders have the same lists, stocks can get pushed, and when there's history on the chart, they can run. That's kind of the idea behind that. This one looks strong though. TRSSF. Looks pretty strong. Like in the daily range of HEIF. This one, HEIF. Oh, I've played it a lot. Done well. Yeah, my only thing with this one is that it's a little, right now it's a little weird. They will release news like 4 times a week, or, you know, at least once a week you can count on them dropping news. They dropped news today. So we had a dollar support, pretty nice, strong dollar support. I played it a couple times up here. I personally let it come back towards, if it comes back towards $1, I would like it. But it does have some range, because if you look at the prior history of the daily chart, prior spikes, it can go. When it catches, it can go. But I think it's kind of tired. It's kind of one of those, like, it's tired now. So wouldn't be surprised to see it eventually start making its way back towards 1, and then fall below 1, and then kind of do the whole life cycle process where eventually they got to do a reverse split and all that. So that's my only concern with this one. It's been overplayed, I feel like, because back in here it was played a lot. It got run up a lot, and it hasn't really pushed. When these China stocks have started to run, it hasn't really pushed up that much. So I'm kind of that's my concern there with ATIF. Although it certainly does offer some solid play, some solid range, especially if it's been a couple days since you've seen news for them. It may not be a terrible idea to grab some and then just have some orders set in pre-market, and if it spikes and hits your spot, you know, there you go. CLPS, let's take a look at CLPS. Clips. Okay, let's see. This is another China stock, right? That's one thing that I like to look at too with this profile on the bottom. I always want to get a quick sense. Is, you know, where's the sector? It's like technology, IT, software, right? Chinese stock. It says like, the location. So you get a quick idea of, okay, boom, here you go. So this is actually looking like it's uptrending, making higher lows, and we got to get over this $4.75 to $5 area before we see some fireworks. It's actually, we must have some news, right? It's popping after, look, there it is. So it's popping up after hours, so we're popping up. So actually, and look, there's your VWAP bounce. So you had this pop, you've been holding up on VWAP pretty well. There's your VWAP bounce, and then boom, it's starting to make a little bit of a further move up. So there's that. I would like to see VWAP, once VWAP cracks and it doesn't hold, then let it kind of fall back down. But for right now, it's looking like it's going to be pretty good. Now we got to get a solid break over 5. We get a solid break over 5, not just a wick, 1 or 2 candles that hold above, then that looks like it's up for some potentially a bigger move, which I think it looks pretty good. Bunch of those solar stocks. Look, yeah, I think for a Biden win for sure. That's what I'm going to be watching as we get into like the end of next weekend. I'm probably going to start pulling up a list and creating my own kind of like list. I'll probably have a video on some of those as well. Some of those green energy solar type plays, in case, for whenever. And they even may go tomorrow too. Watch, tomorrow, and, depends on how this debate goes, right? Because we got the debate tonight. So they may go tomorrow. So that's one also to watch. Fastly, FSLY right now. One of the best trades you can do. Support is so strong. Let's take a look. Take a look at the daily. I know people got crushed in it. Yeah, so when I see what you're saying with support right here at that 75, yeah, that 75 area looks strong. So you would want to see that definitely, and of course you could wick down, below it. Oh, I didn't have the right thing selected. I wanted a horizontal line. There we go. So 75-ish area is your stronger support for right now on FSLY. So that's what I would look to see it come down to. And of course, you can wick down, like I said, but if you fall below and you hold a candle below, that's not a good sign, but that's a solid bounce. I think that's a solid, if you're looking for a bounce spot on FSLY, that's a decent level to be looking at. Of course, around there. So if you're looking to grab some or play options, you can start accumulating some once you get down towards like under 76. You can start to look to grab some. Or once you get close to that 76, you may not bounce perfectly. Like right here, we came down to like 77.50. So it may not perfectly get there. And you may miss a bounce. So just be careful and be on the lookout for, if it starts recovering and moving. So that's one to watch for sure. Yeah, they did an off-ramp up. I know people got crushed on that one. I know that was one that I was at least seeing on Twitter. People were like, "Oh my gosh, like what just happened?" Because I believe Dave Portnoy was in that. And I mean, some people follow him, and follow what he does. But he was in it, I think, that day or the day before or recently. I don't know. I don't follow what he does trading-wise, but I know he was in it. I think he was. So, yep, 75. Earnings in the 28th for FSLY. Okay, that's good. That's good to know. Be careful of that. If you get a bounce sooner, great, but I would look to maybe stay away from the earnings because I'm not sure. It may not be a good sign going into earnings. Let's take a look at MCPHY. Not available, at least on Webull. Okay, I didn't type the right thing in. MCPHY. Is that correct? Let's see. Or is it MPHY? I don't know. Maybe I'm not. I don't know if I can't pull it up here at least. EPD. Good run today. Yeah, it had a nice 2% run. Up 2% on the day. Energy sector. Okay, there you go. So, let's see what it's doing right now. It's bounced off that 15-ish, and then it's starting to make that recovery, a nice move on up as of late. Stock hit 22 not too long ago. Looks decent. It looks decent to me. Especially after the sell-off back in, trying to make a bounce, trying to make a move. Doyu ARC has been buying. Let's take a look. Yeah, and I also, that's the thing. I know a lot of people have been talking about ARK buying this and that. That's, it's one thing that, recently people have been paying attention to. So that's one thing to stay on top of as well. And you can definitely get some moves, if people start to see that type of stuff. People, there will be a reaction and people will buy it up. This must be like a growth type of play. They must be looking for a high growth type of play here. So looks like it's trying to it's consolidating or bouncing around here from 1785 to 13-ish. So it's trying to come back down. Let's see it come down. Maybe it fills this gap back down to 14. Maybe that 14 is a better entry. Something like that could be a better entry, at least for you. I don't think I put money on a Biden win. They aren't even campaigning. I don't know. I have no idea. I really do not know, especially after last time 4 years ago when we had the polls. I just personally, I can't believe that stuff right now. So I just want to see the numbers come in on election day. That's when I'll believe it. That's when I'll believe whatever's going to happen. Personally, for me. So it's going to be interesting, for sure. So, McFi Energy. I can look for it. I can see if I can pull it up. Look at the past year. It's been showing some solid uptrends, so it's looking like it's holding this 18, 21. So it's pushing up. That's good. It has to get up over these highs. It's 25. It's got to break over 25, 27, and then eventually it looks like we have a 30. So those are your next levels, at least for that guy. Trump stocks. I don't know if that's another one to watch for the debate tonight and see what happens, because that's going to be interesting, and it depends what he talks about. It comes down to sectors. So if he has a certain sector or something, we get into some discussions on the debates and stuff. That's what you'll kind of see. But also, I think less of that, because we've had Trump as president, right? If we get a change, right, then you can see people starting to say, oh, now things are different. What stocks might benefit under, the different circumstances. So if Trump wins, I don't know if there's a specific sector or a specific stock, that you want to look for, CSIQ. Canadian Solar, there you go. This 37 area looks decent. Decent area to be holding up. And it's wicked down today, but this looks like a potential, solar play for sure. Potential Biden play even tomorrow, depending on what they talk about tonight. So, I like that. It was a little overextended, not going to lie, but it could run. All these plays will probably run if he wins. Twitter. I took an L on the options on Twitter. I played them last week. Let's see. Something like that. We're teasing $50, so I want to see a continued move over $50. Let's see if we can hold and really push over that 50. If we can't push over 50, or hold up over 50, because now we're getting above it. Look, we go to the past 1 hour. We go to the 1 hour chart. We got yesterday, we got up over there. We closed up over there. It looks like, and then came down. So let's see if we can break back above and really confirm that for some upward move. But Twitter's up a lot. They have things too, so they're up a lot. I don't know. I would say a lot of these large caps, I would be looking personally for a pullback. That's my at least. It's if you just look at the chart, it's too overextended for me. If you're gonna play them, you're gonna play a breakout or something like that, or you're holding long term, you can just buy whenever. Buy it now, it dips, buy some more. Next year, buy some more. If you're doing that, that's fine. But right now, if you're playing breakouts for a couple, percentage move up down, options, yes, that's fine. Or even puts if you want to play puts. But it's 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 very overextended. Maybe it's going to keep going, but let it pull back a little bit towards this trend line, which this trend line's got a pretty, darn nice slope too. Like this is a solid uptrend too. It's pretty, it's pretty fast. So we'll see what happens if it comes back towards that line. SRAC. So another SPAC play. I haven't looked too much into this one. So what I like for SPAC plays now, is what we've been seeing, is if you can get it as close to 10 as possible, have an average as close to 10 as possible, and then if you get closer to that date and you get a sell-off post merger, then that's when you buy some more. That's how I'm seeing SPACs. Unfortunately, that's just what we've been seeing. I think it's really thrown kind of the whole IPO kind of way for a loop, and so people are not sure what to do. Like, it depends. Like, it used to be like institutional investors had a massive advantage, and now the SPAC route is throwing people off. It's throwing us off. So it's like, well, now everyone's on a similar playing field in a sense. So there's potentially some manipulation, a lot of manipulation going on. That's what I'm thinking. Well, we'll see. We'll see how the SPAC landscape. It's going to take some time to certainly develop out. Let's see how they all perform in a few months. By the time we get to next year, let's look at them all again and say, hey, which ones did well, which sectors did well, how are these companies looking fundamentally, and then we'll reassess at that point. SPY is slightly up, barely, but really just pretty much even. So I guess there's not much news, not much is going on afterwards. Let's take a look at SCKT. Look at that. That's a nice little uptrend here we have developing. So, and also one other thing, if I was to use other indicators, I currently use moving averages and VWAP, MAs and VWAP. If I wanted to put on EMAs, here are the EMAs I use: 10, 25, 50, and 200, just for day trades, right? So what I'll look for on a stock, if I was going to take a day trade, holding up a certain EMA. So it gets confusing. You don't have to worry about this too much. But right now we're looking at like blue line, which is at 25 EMA. We're holding that 25 EMA pretty well. So what I would look for is to dip back to this 25 EMA. Maybe it's a dip buy, boom, and then play it for the clean break of $3. We get 301, but when you're looking for like a breakout over $3 for this one right here for SCKT, 2 to 3 cents above, that is a better entry for a breakout than if you were to buy it at $3 for the breakout or for at 301, just because you can get a little fake out sometimes for something like that. Yep, I appreciate it. I try to keep it, I try to keep things, pretty quick to the point. I have just a certain style of, look, here we go, that $3 came up to it, pulled back. So there's SCKT. There's a certain style. Everyone's got their own style of, hey, look at stuff and how they do stuff. I think technicals are pretty important, and in terms of risk reward for trades, not investments, I think that you at least have to have some sense of how they work and how they look and how trend lines support resistance. I think it's important. Some people just trade off technicals only. I like technicals with a little bit of catalyst and a little bit of fundamentals mixed in. That's like the ultimate kind of move. I'm getting spam calls here. Appreciate it. I'll post some stuff on Instagram sometimes. I honestly should do more, But if I'm in something like live, I might post like, oh, hey, here's what I did, or here's this, So I'll do some of that stuff on Instagram too. I honestly can do more. I'll make that a point. And I'll even post some YouTube stories. Do anyone look at YouTube stories? I don't know, but I know I posted one, like just because I had the ability to do so, and then I saw like the next day, like I got like a couple days later, I got like a notification from YouTube like, you gained 4 new subscribers from your recent story post. I was like, oh, okay, like that's pretty cool. Like I didn't know people can like see my story or will look at my story and subscribe based off my story, not even video. I thought that was pretty cool. So that's that. Let's see. ASTC. Yeah, and that's the other thing too. I personally don't like to do like, there's people who do have like the alerts and the pay for this subscription and this. Let me get rid of these EMAs because I don't need to see them. They're too confusing. ASTC. Oh yeah, this one ran recently. So this is one that you gotta. I think you gotta let it cool down. Let it cool down. Let it find some new support. Let it kind of bottom out. And what you'll see many times you'll get a quick bounce, like recent, like, in near term, and then it will kind of find support. Maybe it's this 50 SMA, maybe it's a 200, maybe it's $2, which is like in between, and you'll find some support, and then you'll consolidate. You'll maybe show some signs of making another reversal or a trend, and then play ASTC again. Rinse and repeat with a lot of these types of news spike plays. This is a beautiful type of play to rinse and repeat, I think. LCA, let's take a look at my chart for LCA. So what did I do? It broke below what you probably could do. You close at 1270, so you close back up this line. I just got rid of it here in this account. Does not mean that it's like, oh, it's done. No. What do I know, to be honest, at the end of the day? But personally, I'm waiting for this one to bottom out, maybe potentially lower, or for a little further. That's what I think. I think this. Give it some more time. Is the vote date even set here? I don't even think the vote date's set yet. I still did, I think, yesterday. So this is taking a long time. People are getting fed up with these SPACs and stuff. So get the vote. Let's get some more time in here. Let's get some more states legalizing sports betting and online gambling and gaming and that stuff. And let's get that stuff going before this could be another beautiful, beautiful long-term play, similar to those DraftKings and stuff like that. And even Penn, it's the same kind of sector as those. So it's at least a decent buying opportunity, especially based off some of the revenue that I've been seeing from them and some of the increased numbers out of New Jersey. They have some good numbers. So I do like LCA. Yeah, SCKT was up 100%, and then it pulled back. So it couldn't break over this 3. But what are we seeing now? We're trying to develop some support here. This 265-ish area is trying to become our new support. Well, we had a prior high here, 262. Yeah, so have this kind of area right here, same area here. So that's what we're looking at there. We crack below, maybe a VWAP, then that's potentially it. But this is getting up there to the point where after hours play, it could keep going. Draw some trend. You can draw trend lines, and if you want, look at downtrend breaks, things like that. But right now, we're kind of seeing is like something like that, some trend line like that. So we crack below this. It's not a good sign, at least right now. See where it finds new support, but it's solid though. It's a solid move. Certainly, it's the best top after hours at least gainer. So yeah, I appreciate it. Justin. Yeah, that's what I was saying too. Like, that's what's the point for me. I'm not trying to sell anything. Like, I don't have like I don't envision even ever really doing that type of thing. Having like an alert thing. Like, I don't like that. I prefer doing this. I prefer doing a live stream. I prefer doing more live tradings and stuff like that. I prefer that stuff. Sharing just this is because. My experience, to be honest, and not saying that I would have remotely any, because you need to have a significant following and you need to have a lot of either views or views on tweets and stuff like that, or stock twits to get any move based on like a low float stock or something like that. If you were to like pump it, but I hate that. I absolutely hate it. Whenever I see somebody who's like pumping, I'm like, it ruined the play. Like SPAC. I saw so many people talking about it. I was like, this is ruined. This is like, the more that like time went on, I'm like, this is ruined. There's so many people in this stock that have no idea what's going on. It just ruined the play. I like, finding, plays that have not been found and then selling into that initial spike that the pumpers or whatever will have. That's personally like my style. So I'm not gonna, come here and do that, because then it's gonna also ruin just kind of the natural play. I just love more of a natural move. Either you get news or you get more of a natural kind of reversal or a bounce or something like that. I like that more than having some pump kind of move. And let me tell you, I'll show you one right here. ADMP. I'm honestly kind of pissed. It just kind of like it threw off the chart. It threw off this 4-hour chart because this was based off of a pump or like a tweet or like a stock bits post. And there was like no volume that actually, it was okay, 500,000 volume at that for that 4-hour chunk, but it kind of just threw the play off. It makes the chart look, throws it off, and now the stocks come back down. So I wanted more of a natural move, but now you get people in there panic sell. Oh, I made by 3%, I'm going to sell, and so like it throws off the natural flow, the natural move. Let's see. LCA is waiting to add Michigan for online gambling before vote. Okay, that's an interesting theory. That makes some sense though. Tattooed Chef. Let's take a look at Tattooed Chef. What do we got with Tattooed Chef here? Okay, so crack this trend. I haven't looked at this one probably since the trend. Crack this trend. So we can honestly, I'll leave it for now. We can get rid of it though soon. Came down to like, we had a wick down here, so it came down to this area, but it pulled back up to 1955 a little bit. Okay, so there's that. Okay, that's interesting. So we have, we're up around that 1955 for right now. 20 cracked below 20, went down to hit the 17s. I like it based off of everything that I have personally seen. But again, with a lot of these plays been pulling back, a lot of the SPACs have been pulling back. Yeah, it's post-merger, so it's a little bit different. But let it come down, let it consolidate. Let's smoothen out the chart. Let's see more kind of slow moves instead of these quick spikes. And I think right now everyone's like freaking out with a lot of these plays. So I don't know, a lot of people potentially out of what we may be seeing here. So that's that. So my thoughts on SPAC is a long-term hold. That's my thoughts. Yeah, I'll pull it up quick because I know people jumping in and out. It's fine. I'm looking now for dips under 11, potentially even under 10. Who knows? Based off what we've been seeing with Multiplan, with another SPAC play post-merger. Where is she? There she is. MPLN. It fell to 705 today. I mean, it's not good. But we just have kind of that fear right now. For a lot of these plays, we have that fear and we have just uncertainty. So we need to see more news. We need to see more deals. I know that people are saying that GM deal with Nikola is actually looking more and more likely. I think it actually is. From what I've been seeing lately, we'll see if it happens. But I think it's looking more and more likely. But no problem. It's fine. I always, I'll go back and I know people jumping in and out. I want to see it kind of hold up around this level. Hopefully this is the bottom. Hopefully we see some more buying come back in. But let's see how it goes. I'm waiting for the merger to add any more to my position because I'm thinking that we make it a further dip. As much as I hate to say it, I think we might honestly get a bigger dip down, which it's going to hurt. But it also, I think it's a pretty good opportunity to get in at the ground floor of a stock like this. That's just my thought. I still have this bagel. I've been eating it so slow. Good. So, let's see. GameStop is next on the list here. All right. So look at today. 5%. 5% move. We have, it's pushing up. It's looking strong. It really is looking strong. Especially after today's push. I think as long as the market stays green, market stays up, this is looking pretty good. We had news, I think, last week or something. So it popped over this 15 resistance area. We had a couple wicks up there. We broke through. Now we didn't close over 15. So that's not great. I would like to have seen a close over 15. That's your next step, I think, for GameStop. Close over 15, hold up over that level, and then push further. I think we see something like that. That's even stronger of a sign for GameStop. But this is one of those where I think you can also be it would be fine to see it come back down to this trend line and look to grab it off of that. That's how I would look to it based off what I'm seeing. Now, what I personally like for these uptrends would be, I love NIO's. NIO's chart's great in terms of the strength because you get these pushes up, consolidate, push up. That's what you like to see for a strong, strong stock. Here's NIO. Look at this. Push up, consolidate, consolidate, push up. New highs, consolidate, consolidate, push up. New highs, consolidate, boom, new highs. Consolidate, consolidate, new highs. And so if you consolidate long enough, back down a little more, boom. But that's what I'm looking at. That's what I like to see. That's another thing too. When a stock is green on an overall red day in the market, you always consider that's generally a good sign. I would say it's, you don't take it too literally, but it's also, if you see some strength like that, the chart looks strong, there's some solid, reasons why, there's recent news, right? There's a reason why the stock's pushing up, and you got a couple things like that going for it, then, okay, it makes some sense. I can see, why it's a solid play. So, yes, SOLY, solely. I'm pissed that I sold that one too early. I had a set kind of area in place that I was like, if it falls below here, I'm going to get out. And I stuck to that plan initially. And then, of course, it fell down one day. Within like 2 days, it was back over the support. And then it started ripping. So I'll show you exactly what it was. Yeah, I think it was like $6 was my number. And we came down below $6. We closed, we wicked below it the day before. And then I sold on this day when it went to $5.69. I sold somewhere under 6. The next day after that, we were down here. We wicked down here to $5.86. But then we soon after pushed back up. And now we also got some news, I think, in the works or in the pipeline here too. So there's more to, I think there's more to go on Soli. Got to break above this $9.25, potentially $10. Then we can go. Well, we're kind of in this gap. We're in this gap too. So we're popping on up, and looking for 10 plus. I think for Soli, especially if they get news. They get good news here. They can go. Let's see. It is Soli's looking good. Yeah, and that's the other thing too. It's gonna stuff like that shakes you out. So if you have, if you're like, for me, like there's certain stocks like you'll find that I am like that you just there's catalysts, there's reasons why you're in it, and no matter if it drops or what, you're gonna play it. And there's just certain conviction trades that you have, and some people are their risk tolerance is different than others. Everyone but I recommend if you have a plan in place, stick to the plan, because if you don't stick to a plan once, what's the likelihood that you're going to do it again? And then, maybe the first time it works, maybe the second time it doesn't, and then you get screwed. Cellulite treatment FDA approval is the Soli news that we're waiting for. Boohoo and Farfetch? What is that? If you have a ticker for it, I don't know. Let's see what SPY's up to. Up a little bit. We're trying to just trickle up higher. So that's the other thing too. I had this downtrend line, and after hours so far, we're trickling higher. This could be a good sign. If we can open up here over that 345, we might have a good day tomorrow. That's what I'm thinking about for SPY. So hopefully we can get up above there. BOO. Or is it not on, let me take a look here. BOO. That's 1 year chart. Fashion retailers. It's a retail company. Okay. This is your time. This is your time of year for retail plays, though. And this dip down. We seemed like we came down to 250. This time of year. I mean, look, going into the holiday season. So, this is if you're looking to play it, it certainly is not a terrible time. Farfetch. Let's look at the year to date. Another fashion retailer. Okay, so these are the two plays that right now I don't know much about, right? I obviously won't be trading them, but myself. But this is your time. This is your time of year for some retail plays. Now look at this. Actually, here's a retailer. So let's pull up the retailer for today. SQBG up 50% on the day. It came down hard though from where it was. They had news. Let me pull up the news. Let's pull up the news. They had Heelys and Reebok team up for a collab. That was the headline, and that's honestly a simple headline like that. When I saw it hit the scanner, I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting. Let's see how it reacts. And then it pushed because, I don't know, when you see names like that, brand names, Heelys, okay, I had a pair of Heelys back in the day, many, many years ago. I had a pair of Heelys. When you see names like that, Reebok, Heelys, like, oh, like people see that, oh, like that, it's a lot easier just to slap it, right? Just slap the stock, which, is stupid to do, but at the same time, people will do it. It's a lot easier just to slap, and it gets going, and once it catches enough volume, catches enough momentum, it goes, and it went. So it went from it was under $6 yesterday, and it popped to 18. Massive, massive move for the high of the day. So that was a crazy but that's a retail play. Now, yes, did this run off of organically, hey, sales are up, or did it run off of news like that? No, it ran off of, a partnership, right? But still, it could help ignite the retail sector. which is what we're looking for. So they're collabing. So that's what we saw. I think NAKD was up a little bit today. 6%. It's pretty good. For at least NAKD. And let me tell you, I wish I had a better average on it, but we'll see. I'm in very small for now. Not super concerned. There's a fun little play there. AIKI. Let's see. No volume. A little bit of volume, but not much at all. After hours. So everything that I'm in is let's take a look at Bitcoin. We haven't seen Bitcoin in a minute. Okay, Bitcoin's still up where it was for the most part. We're waiting for it to push through, and it has to get above. It's got to get above. Oh, it did make a new high. So there you go. But continuation tomorrow for like further highs, and the next key level I think is going to be 14. We get to 14,000, break over that. That'll really start igniting a bunch of these Bitcoin plays again. I think for sure. EVK. So right now it's support like 250-ish area, but probably will come down. This is probably going to come down for sure. I know it had news, but these types of plays, and that's what I was thinking about doing, is looking into stuff like this to develop like a shorting strategy. I know it's risky to do, but it's kind of my thought is like maybe I can figure out like a strategy that a lower risk shorting type of strategy that works for stocks like this, because I know people do it, but I mean when you get a stock that runs from under $1, a couple of days back to $6.75, I mean it depends on the news, but I mean ultimately, no, I don't know how much news is going to change, is really going to change a stock's price that much where it's going to stay and hold up at that level. You see it rarely, but a lot of these stocks, depending on, I mean, it depends on the news, but I think this will come back down. I think almost for sure this will come back down under $2 soon, very soon. That's my thoughts. Apple, biggest position recently, added a swing trade position, hold it through earnings, receive a dividend in November, and then go out when it reaches 140. Let's take a look at Apple. This is another one that this is like, if you're looking for just a long-term growth stock play, I mean, this is a solid one I would think to put your money in. I don't really see, I don't see it going anywhere. I don't see it going anywhere. I was looking at it back here. I put a line in there. Well, right now, we can kind of draw something like this. So we got this, it's looking decent right now, at least where it is. Apple's at a solid spot. 115 is a decent entry, I think, for a swing. Holding through earnings, always have the risk there again, of course, but like always, this stock, worst case scenario, if you're looking to swing trade Apple, options on Apple, then yeah, you can get screwed. Apple may go up, but you may lose money. So that's why I don't personally like playing options that much, because there's too much I don't know. Many times you can predict the move of the stock, based off technicals and even fundamentals and catalysts, but can you predict the timing of the move? That's where things get challenging, and that's where options always screw me. So if you're day trading them, that's one thing, but if you're going to swing trade options, there's a risk, because any day somebody can come out with stimulus is not happening news, and then like the market crashes, and then boom. So here's Apple right now breaking out of if it breaks out of this little downtrend, so get back above 118, 120. That's looking like a good move back to the upside for Apple. Then we get back above 125 when it pushes on up. That's what I'm looking for. At least that's what I would like to see for Apple for right now. Got on at 109. That's a good entry, I think. That's a good spot. At the worst case scenario, this the stock will be up. Will go back up eventually, I think. Worst case scenario, it's going up. I think. It's pretty predictable in terms of that. It's just how are you willing to hold it long term? Are you options trading it? It depends. So. So we have the Hertz ruling on that loan soon, and SPAQ. I talked about it a couple times. I'm sitting here waiting for it to come back down, for it to dip down further to grab some more. I'm waiting for the date. Let's go through the vote date, see what happens with SPAQ, and then I'll assess at that point. If things go well, stock starts recovering. Awesome. If things go well and the vote passes and it falls down, I'll just buy more. That's just my plan with SPAQ. So Hertz, we saw a little bit of a move up today. So it looks like 150 is trying to hold up as support. So that's a solid area. 150 seems like a decent level. Maybe you can try that. Personally, I probably won't play it, but we do have that. If we do get the judge ruling for that loan, that's going to be another catalyst here to watch for Hertz. So either a run up into that date, into the 29th, or, so we'll see where we get that news. Yep. There you go. If Apple goes down after earnings, I'll hold it a few months. Fine. Or hold it for a month. No big deal. There you go. And that's the other thing, too. With stocks like that, you could go heavy. You can go heavy and be confident. You're not playing options. You're playing a solid stock. Uptrending. Longevity. Fundamentals are there. Go heavy. Why not? Tattooed Chef. Unfortunate, but I think I was talking about before. Let's see it kind of. Let's see the volatility kind of calm down. Let's get it to come down. Find an area of support. Maybe it comes down to the 17 and it kind of slows down and really holds up around 17. Maybe it comes down further. I like it, but let's give it some time. These types of plays are some more time. I think it's a solid play longer term. That's my thoughts. Let's see. So there's SPAC just down. I mean, this one hurt. I'm not gonna lie, it was not fun. It really was a drainer on the account ever since 18. It really was, because what I did was I got screwed in it because I wrote it up from I had an average nice. I was buying it under 12 back in the day, which was awesome. I wrote it up and I started scalping it on the way up, which was cool until it wasn't, until we had this. So I was scalping. If it dropped 5% in a day or whatever, I'd buy in and then scalp it intraday for a couple percent. And then it was cool until we got caught in just the dip kept dipping. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then we got, be in the bounce, came back, and then we kind of noticed in this period, we have good news, we get the vote date set, and then it just sell off. Vote date would get set, it would sell off, there's this, there's that. It's So that's the thing that kind of hurt. And ever since I started to see that happen, this would have been ideal at the time to get out. Once we had, this was the Magna news, when they had the deal with Magna kind of finalized. When they had that news, that was like, okay, cool, let's just, maybe it's time to get out at 15. And then I was able to, I didn't get out, and I just sold. I sold, I think, some of it then, and then I sold some more on a pop, and then I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna move on. I have it though. I'm not out. I have it in a long-term portfolio, so I'm playing it, for months to years potentially. It's a longer-term growth, but play. That's my thoughts. You can have multiple Webull accounts. I believe you have to have a different type of account though. So I currently have you can have a personal account, or you can IRA account. I think you can do that. Let's see. Can you have multiple? Do you get the free stock? I think it's just account. I think maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong on that. But I want to say it's just one account. If it's not, that's awesome. Especially right now. For those of you who don't know, who don't use Webull, this is the platform that I use. It has a lot of pluses, and it's been improving significantly over the past couple of months for sure, especially with their new desktop platform. The app has been great. I've been using it for a year now, the desktop platform, I've been using it for a couple months. But now until the end of the month, they're doing a 3 free stock promo. So they used to be doing 2 free stocks. Eventually at one point it was 1. Now it's 1 free stock, you sign up, you sign up, you get a free stock. Then you deposit $100, you're going to get 2 free stocks that are valued from $800 to $1,600. It's a pretty awesome incentive for right now. So again, I always have links in all my videos if you ever want to check it out. And you do support the channel if you do, because I get a free stock when you sign up, and you get 3, but I get 1. So you actually benefit more than me in that situation. So that's awesome. And that also will contribute to the growth of this account on the channel. Because the free stocks, they just go in my account, I sell them, and that's it. Yeah, but once you have stocks in the IRA, you can sell them. When you get those free stocks, you don't have to keep them. You just sell them, and you have the cash. You can pull the cash out. In the IRA, wouldn't do that. But if it was an individual, pull the cash out, use that money to trade. So I've gotten a couple $100 free stocks. Is JP Morgan? Let's see. Yeah, I had a couple of JP Morgan free stocks, so they're over $100. I was like, oh, that's awesome. There's that. I've been getting a lot of New York Times, 40 something bucks. Yeah, I got a couple of New York Times lately. Yeah, so it's fun. The free stocks are fun. Robinhood, though, I will say Webull does give better, for right now, Webull's free stocks are better than Robinhood's because Webull's in that growth phase of like, they want to get more people to the platform. They want to get as many people on the platform as possible. And then eventually at some point, it's going to transition to like, okay, no more free stocks. Or like they'll probably do like a one free stock when you sign up. And then it will transition to pretty much like nothing really, like not as much of an incentive to refer people or to sign up. But they'll really improve the platform. That's like, at least that's what they were telling me. And like they were emailing, and they email a bunch of us who are in the affiliate program, or there's like a special affiliate program that they have to contact you for. So when you get contacted by Webull, that's when you know you made it. And when they send you the hat, honestly, when they send you the hat, that's when you really know that you've made it. So there's that. Let me actually turn this light on because it's not dark out, but like hopefully that brightens at least my face up a little bit. So, so for me, so for people who sign up to Webull and they get a free stock, the first free stock now just for signing up is like $2.50 to $250. Probably closer to that $2.50 mark, probably. Although they said there's a chance you can get a higher one, right? It's closer to $250. And then when you deposit $100, you get 2 free stocks valued from $8 to $1,600. And that's what happens. For me, I get like, most of my free stocks are like $30-ish. That's like what I get if I get a free stock. So that's fun. It's a cool little bonus. Cool little incentive at least. Won't be around forever though, I will say that. If I wish I got Amazon for free. But I think JP Morgan is the biggest free stock, the largest of value I've ever gotten. So, let's see, SPY's up, barely, after hours. Let me see if we got any news. If we got any stimulus news, that would be cool. Let's see. I'm trying to pull up Twitter. That's honestly, let me tell you that. That's where I get most of my news from. Mostly Twitter. All right, we have some news for other stocks. There's let me check on Fubo because I had a PR. How much are they up? They're pulling back. They're at 360, but they're pulling back. Mostly after hours. We still have the SCKT is the biggest play. But like I said, again, here's your VWAP bounce. So people, you honestly don't have to, like it's very, like what I found, and here's one thing I also want to touch on for those who are under the PDT rule and who are struggling, because I'm kind of going through that on this account when I have those videos on Saturday where I show you guys trading stocks to $100,000. That's the idea behind that is to just be under the PDT rule, to just stick it out, get through it, and then, progress from there. That's the idea. That's the idea for PDT for this account. Then the thing that I'm also saying is that there's so many opportunities, like in a given stock, on a given chart, on all that stuff. You'll get like a 250 or like this support right here at VWAP. You literally buy at VWAP, and you don't need to be in this thing. You don't need to be like super concerned with a bigger move. Just small scalps. Honestly, it sounds like you're trading for pennies. You're flipping for pennies. But yes, I know people who do this all day long, who just look for like scalps like this all day. But it's like 2, 3, 4, 5% here. It adds up as your account grows. It adds up. I mean, that's what's really holding. I think it holds a lot of people back for the PDT rule. And I think the rule is dumb. Personally, I understand why it was there, but it's an old rule. But because the PDT rule really, what it really comes down to is like, it's trying to protect you from losing a lot of money. But at the same time, when you start to progress and advance, and you start to kind of know what's going on, it really can hold you back. You want to make, but like, let's say, you're buying something at support and you're like, well, if it holds this level, it's going to be good. I'm going to just, hold this for a quick bounce, right? But then it falls through support, so you're like, well, if it falls through support, I don't want to have to cut it tonight. There's so many ideas that I have on a given day that, if you don't have restrictions for the PDT, you're going to feel so much less concerned. Stress-free trading, and it's more like just quick, like flowing. You're flowing. Here's an idea. Let's try it. It works. Cool. Let's take profits. Move on. It doesn't work. Okay, we'll cut it for a small loss and we'll move on. Like, it's just continuously do. I know people who do, and they make tons of money, especially as you progress and as you have larger money to play with, right? And especially if you catch something that really runs, that really pushes. But like when you're under that PDT role, you're really struggling with, okay, how do I best manage my money? How do I best manage my trading to get the best risk reward, the best return, shortest period of time, while doing it under 3-day trades per 5 days? It's literally like I need to make a whole. Once I kind of get past it, it needs to be like a whole other video because it's so worth it. So my guess here on SCKT is that we probably come down to this VWAP, and we may not hold it this time because we've held it a couple times. We just held it. We may not hold it this time. So I'm thinking that we may be starting to die out. So that's what we'll see. We'll see. Twitter to follow for news. I have a bunch of stuff that I follow. Let me just pull up something that I know I follow. Let's look up. I know Zero Hedge, literally just zero spelled out, the word hedge. This guy posts news all the time. It's just like, it could really blow your feet up, but it's good to just kind of have just news here and there. Like recently, he just tweeted, they tweeted Pelosi optimism triggers massive value rotating short squeeze. Okay. Gilead gets FDA approval for remdesivir. There you go. They got the FDA approval for remdesivir. So there's stuff like that. Every data center sales miss estimate. It's Zero Hedge on Twitter. So, I quickly could get some news off of that. Other than that, I follow some other people, other traders, I guess, that, pumpers, traders, whatever you want to call them, because they move stocks, whether you like it or not. It looks like we're trying to bounce here at that 250 level. So, meet Kevin. Also, if you want stimulus news, meet Kevin. That's your guy. Intense stimulus update. Just posted, I think he posted that. So that's another, for good stimulus news at least. Pushing it up. New highs on SPY. At least after hours. So that's moving a little bit. Bitcoin's pulling back. Bitcoin is pulling back. But ultimately, this is on the 1 hour, on the 1 minute. If you look at the 1 hour, it's fine. It's still looking strong. I mean, we can put in a trend line here too, if you want, to see how Bitcoin's been doing, or at least kind of what it's holding up right now. Maybe testing that trend for right now. Yeah, CNBC is also just another good spot to be for news like that. Personally, if I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, I don't have, in the apartment, I do not have like a cable plan or anything, because it's for some people that's like, are you kidding me? I literally don't watch TV. Like, I get my news on like online, but I literally don't watch TV. The only TV that I'll watch is like live sports, and I'll just stream it off of wherever for free, or I'll pay for something. Who knows? I literally don't have like I have the best possible Wi-Fi though, the highest Wi-Fi speeds on AT&T. I do have that. I mean Netflix, have those things, but live TV I don't watch anymore. I don't watch the news. I mean, you can get CNBC, you can stream. I think TD Ameritrade. You can also get it on TD Ameritrade if you have an account. So that's just me. Watch me, Kevin, every day, dude. For stimulus updates, I'm telling you, he's like the guy. He's the go-to guy. The guy, he makes so many videos a day. Insane how many videos he pumps out, but he loves it. So look, now we're cracking this trend on Bitcoin, so that's not good. Well, we'll see. We'll see how Bitcoin goes over the next couple of days. Ultimately, I think it's going to take some time. It might take the weekend for it to really push. Hold over 13 would be ideal. Might not. Uh-oh. Boom. Look how different the time frame's gonna look. The 1 minute, freak out, crash, everything's burning. Look at the 1 hour. Yeah, a little dip. No big deal. That's funny. But ultimately comes down, maybe I'll look to this 12.75 area. Would be a good spot for support. I do have Netflix, so I have Netflix. Amazon Prime, Netflix, Hulu. Yeah, I got all that. I don't use it though, to be honest, that much, but I have it. So people think that people think that's crazy to hear that when they hear that I don't watch TV, but what I am watching tonight and getting ready, because a couple of hours actually, my Philadelphia Eagles versus the New York Giants. The division is up for grabs, as all the teams are. That's my team. I've been a fan since I was 5. So I will watch the Eagles. I do watch their games. I watch them live. I don't replay them. That's true. I'm a fan. I'm a big Eagles fan. So I'm thinking about when it comes to streaming. When it comes to streaming Sunday nights, every single Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, live stream going over what to expect for the week, stocks I'm looking at, and then everybody can just give me their thoughts. Open to pretty much whatever anyone's got to say. If you have any good reasoning behind a stock, please let us know. And hopefully we can bounce good ideas off each other on Sundays. And I'm thinking about doing some afternoon or night streams during the week. I'm not sure. Maybe Tuesday, Thursday time period is probably maybe. Something like that is what I'm thinking. Debate tonight. Yeah, the debate tonight. I will probably watch some of that. What else? Oh, school? So, if you guys know, PPSI, my favorite stock, honestly, ever. So we go back to the 1 hour chart, and we'll pull up PPSI. This is what comes down to how I knew PPSI. So I say I have a weather background. That's my school. That's my school background. So, whatever it is, 170, whatever. I was in 150. It went to 943 because it's a generator play. So I was watching hurricanes, meteorology. So, that's my. I don't have the thing. I have to get a for school, whatever. But that's what it is. So I'm big weather geek. So if you ever see me pull up one of these things, weather models, you might have absolutely no idea what's going on here, but we actually have a hurricane to the right of the screen here. But yeah, I'm a big weather geek. Love that's yeah. So that's how I knew about it, because I'm a freak when it comes to weather, and I'm always following. There you go. That's my PPSI sneaky kind of, how did I have my insider information? I just know weather models, and I can use that to my advantage, and know how when I start seeing certain things in weather models, yeah, this doesn't look too good, and that's why I got PPSI. So a lot of money. Start trading a lot with fake money. Yeah, so when it comes to starting out, personally, for me, what I found to be the best was, I would recommend to you, number one, is go cash. Use a cash account. Whatever you do, use a cash account. Don't use a margin. I'm not sure if you'll have to deal with PDT if you're not using a U.S. broker. So if you don't have to worry about the PDT rule, which is going to restrict your day trading, use a cash account, because that's going to be nice. If you don't have to worry about that, I don't know if you do, then don't worry. I just said don't worry about it. But personally, for me, I would say that some of the biggest things that helped me was the first hurdle was getting to that point. Of mentally not caring. Now I know it's the toughest thing to do, But I know when you're starting out, the way that I started thinking about money like a couple years back was like, I'm young, right? I have X dollars, I have, to my name, right? If I lost it all, so what? I didn't lose that much. Like, to be honest, like ultimately, like I'm, later on in my life, like I anticipate, you anticipate, income going up, right? You anticipate other things. And, of course, it's very volatile, things can change, right? But I knew like from a young, like when I was, going through high school, college, I was like, I went downhill early on in college. I can tell you that. I went downhill, like sports betting, bad. Like it was not good. I lost, like I had under $5 in my checking account. That was it. Debt coming in, like debt piling up. Like I was just not, it was not good. It was not good. But that helped kind of change like the way that I started to think about money back then. And it was like, I'm going to have, if I lose like $1,000, like it's not the end of the world, like right now. Yeah, it may seem like it. If I need that $1,000 for an expense or for, rent, or if I ever need, whatever, then no, I'm not going to risk that. But I was like, whatever I can do to come up with a certain amount of money, whatever it is. And that's how I started my account. This account started with like $300. I literally started this account with $300. So you don't have to have a lot of money to start with. $300. And I was like, because $300 is what I would honestly say, if I lost it all tomorrow, it's fine. Like it's okay. And I had to just, you have to find that number that's when you're starting out, that's comfortable for you. But it was like, I don't care. It's fine. I'm going to move on. And then because if you're in a stock, if you're in a trade and you're thinking about the profit and loss and you're thinking about your account value, and I still do it today. I still do. But if you're thinking about those numbers, you're thinking about all that stuff, it's going to severely impact how you are rationally going to think about that trade, that stock, that event, whatever, and that is ultimately going to be bad, negative to the trading. You don't want that. You do not want to worry. That's why it's a game of get to 25K in the US, break that PDT rule, then get to 100K. You get to 100K, and it's like you start to reach a point where it's like you'll try this, you'll try that. Like you don't have to worry about like you can be in, you can be out. You can I can liquidate everything today, and be all cash tonight if I wanted to, or boom, and then. It doesn't. You don't care as much. Like the loss of like $100 is that's like a little scratch. Like who cares? You got to lose a lot, and then as you progress, if you get to $100,000, if you trade your way to $100,000, you have to start with $100,000. You'll probably not have to worry about that again unless you do something stupid. So, is there a way to start trading without paying an interest? I mean, all the brokers at least the brokers that I use. Are free. I'm not sure. It depends on where you are. If you're using like an offshore broker or you're using like other brokers that have fees, but like Webull's free. You got TD Ameritrade free. All these brokers these days are free. Robinhood, as much as I don't recommend it for long-term investing or buy and holds, yeah, that's fine. You can get that. You can use Robinhood too. I have a Robinhood account for longer holds. I don't care. Whatever. Use a bunch, use that to your advantage, but they should all be like, you should be able to get a free trading broker. It depends on unless where you're located though. That's that. DLPN. Let's take a look at that. Dolphin. Ooh, look at this. That looks good. It does. Because starting to try to consolidate uptrend here. 50 SMA on the daily squeezing us in. It's really kind of coming to a point. Looks like pop. Looks like either we're setting up for news potentially, or technical breakout to the upside. This one looks pretty good. This is a solid. Like this is a good idea. This is potentially a good idea based on the chart. It looks pretty good because we did that before, and we had some of these spikes, some of these pops. So this looks like a good play, I think. Exactly my point of view. Rule for myself. Only trade money I have gained on my own. Yeah, that's it. I mean, yeah, like I have money that I have set aside longer term. I have money in a checking account if I need now. That's another thing too. I do not. My money is either working for me or it's not sitting. I don't like to have money sitting. I have a very small kind of like safety net building up in terms of like I have like a very small amount of money per month that I put in a high interest. It's that Yada Bank now. Everyone's talking about like that bank. So it's like a high interest savings. I have that, but it's not that much money. Other than that, it's either there's money in this account, I have other trading accounts, I have a long-term account, and then I have only what I need for like day-to-day things, like for like short-term expenses based off of like paying the credit card bills and stuff in a checking account. And that's it. Like I don't hold much cash. I don't have much cash sitting. Good, bad, that's just how I see it. I don't know. That's my point of view on it. Get it working for you, at least, to a degree. Now, you have some levels of safety in terms of if you're going to put all your money into trading, are you consistently profitable? Is that the smartest move? If you're not, then let's put some aside somewhere else. Put it to a long-term investing, earn a higher interest. Interest rates are so low, but maybe you can do that. Put some aside to minimize that risk. But ultimately, I think that's how you should do it, personally. Yeah, that DLP on Spike is nice. Is nice. So earnings was a 713. Look, prior to that, I pushed. This could be good. This could be a very good play. We'll write it down because I'll take a further look at that potentially this weekend or something. So that's a good idea. What else we got? SPY still up. After hours, pushing up a little bit of new highs. So we have that going. Let's see. Any news? I'm gonna be interested. I can't wait to see what happens with the market tonight and futures. So we have the debate. Obviously, futures are going to either. We'll see if they react similar to last time, where they were up. And the second those news outlets released that Biden was the winner of the debate by a scale of this to this, who knows if that stuff makes any, who knows where they're getting that from, right? But down. So futures went down. So tomorrow's going to be an interesting day. That's going to be a very interesting day. Also, the past couple of days, let's take a look at work. The past couple of days, I didn't type it in right. I've been noticing, because I am up at super early in the morning to like see that. I mean, for me, it's 6 a.m., but it's 7 a.m. news kind of flow. So I'm up and watching that stuff, and most of the time I'm not actually trading anything. I'm just sitting there watching and just taking my taking it all in, which I think is also good too. For at least most of the penny plays that I look at, the news flow has been bad, and there has not been anything. Not much has caught on in the early part of the day, past couple of days. When you usually have a big runner, like the day's runner, today I guess it was like SQBG was a decent play. EVK as well. So usually you'll get news on them earlier, and they'll hold up throughout most of the pre-market, and then they'll really go. So haven't been seeing too much. I mean, SQBG, EVK were decent, but been kind of meh. Let's look at work here. Okay. I don't know, to be honest, very much about it. I'll just pull her up just for some fun. Okay. So, oh yeah, I know people who use this. That's actually a good thing. I've seen people who use like their stuff. So that's actually cool. What it looks like we have, at least lately, is somewhat of a downtrend kind of here, which we got to pop above that. It's not perfect and isn't really ideal now. So maybe we have we have some support back in here, 28-ish. Maybe it's decent. I don't really know. This is a kind of an interesting chart. So really, to me, it would be what drives the fundamentals behind it. So if you truly believe in what they offer and the business model and all that, then yes, this is probably looks like more of a longer term play. In terms of a swing, I don't know. I mean, it looks like it may be trying to find some support right here, but it could come down further. So, the chart's kind of interesting. It's not like it also doesn't have that much history. So you look back at when this thing began trading. It's only a couple months of history. You want to see some more history develop. Personally, before I'd be looking for like a swing entry, other than if I was looking for a longer term investment. I either believe in the fundamentals, I believe in all that stuff that drives in it. So we use it in school. There you go. Teacher loves the app. How did I learn to swing trade? So I'll explain how it all began, which is a funny, interesting story. So many years ago, actually not many years ago, but many years back, I started. My dad trades like options on the side, so he got me into that and exposed me to what options are, and then from there, I was like, okay, this sounds pretty cool. I don't have that much money, to invest, a couple $100. I was pretty young, so what if I traded some options on like Apple, bigger name stocks, but I traded options because I can get access to have the money to buy 100 shares of Apple, or to buy, enough shares of Apple for it to make, sense if I was to swing trade it or day trade it, right? So let me just buy, options. And I played options, and it was cool. I made some money. I was like, oh, this is awesome. I was buying options for earnings, like holding through earnings, stupid stuff like that. And then I went to school, and I kept doing it on the side. Lost all my money. Actually at the time, I had about $2,000 saved up. And it was a while ago, and I had $2,000. Blew it all on options trading. And then there was one where I went all in, and I forgot that I hadn't sold. I didn't know it was new. I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't sell, and then I lost all of that money because the option expired worthless, and I was like, so I had no money. And that began kind of my come up from broke, I guess, from like nothing at all. And I'm still, let's be honest, I'm not by any means like I would say wealthy, but I have, I'm able to, live fairly comfortably, at least right now. I'm not like, I do have student loans, I'll tell you that too, student loans. So I'm not like a, perfect poster child for this stuff. But from there, I was like, okay, save up some other money. Here we go. And then I tried it again. So a couple of years back, actually not that long ago, the Ricky Gutierrez trading course, whatever it's called, Learn, Plan, Profit. I bought that, and I learned what technicals were. I learned how all that stuff worked. I got a better idea, full understanding of all that stuff. And then from there, I applied that to options trading yet again. And so here we go. And now I started to see some significant, this is where the channel began too. So at the time, I had a drop shipping store. I had a fishing drop shipping store, for those who know what that is. And if you go back far enough on my channel, you may even find some drop shipping videos, like I'm not even kidding, from like 2 years ago. I had a fishing drop shipping store, and I started to trade on the side. And then what I did was I took the course, I started to kind of understand things, and I applied it to options trading. I had a day where I made like $1,500, and I had a day where I lost like $500, $1,000, and I would be like ups and downs and ups and downs. No consistency. I didn't have consistency there. So I was like, okay, I'm not consistent here. Let's try a different strategy, right? And that's why, because I was swing trading options. You can picture, swing trading options, how risky that could become, especially with news over the weekend or over the night. You're like, what's going on? Like, nowadays, stimulus news, like that's the riskiest stuff you can do if you're putting on a shorter time scale. But FVAC bouncing off the 50 SMA actually looks pretty good. Looks like it's a solid area of support for right now for FVAC, Flying Eagle acquisition and their SPAC play. So then I got through that, and I was like, okay, well, then I was in college at that point, and I said, okay, well, let me go to, let me find something else. That's when I came across the other group that I'm still in. I get a lot of great information from that group, which I also link. I link all the stuff that has helped me in the description box below. So if you're ever, where do I find this stuff? That's where it is. And it was the Mr. Investor Prosperity Trading Team. So there's two, like if you look on StockTwits or on Twitter, you'll see there's two like Mr. Investors, like Mr. Investor and there's Mr. Investor Pro. David Kang is the guy who I actually like found, and I paid for his like $100 a month just group. And so it's a Discord group, and I don't say you have to do this stuff. It's just what I did. I paid for his $100 a month Discord group, and it was for penny stocks. So I was learning how this stuff works, how these stocks work, how they move, and it's not options trading. So I was like, okay, this stuff makes some more sense to me. A little bit less risk, at least for that. So I started doing the penny stocks, and then I learned how that was. And then I realized quickly in that group that this is like legit, like this stuff can work. And so I pretty much started this account, this Webull account, a little over a year ago with $300. And here it is today. It's $16,000. So yes, okay, some of that money I've added to it. Some of that money is free stocks, but I've also made some significant profit too. So that's when I was like, okay, this stuff is cool. And that's what I've been doing for the past year. So I pay for that group. I now pay yearly, so I have like a discount on it because I pay yearly. So group, they have awesome like day trading alerts. They have awesome swing trading group. Tons of education. I'm going to sell the group to you by any means, but that's how I really learned. And then it's been doing it for a year, seeing how this stuff works, seeing how the cycle of a lot of these types of penny stocks work, and then now applying it to my own due diligence, my own research, my own lists of stocks and my own sectors and doing all that stuff. So that's what I've been doing, and that's how I kind of learn. It's taken time, but I was able to put myself in good positions at least, and by no means am I like some amazingly cool, profitable trader. I mean, I am, I guess, profitable, right? But over the past year of this account, but by no means do I ever feel comfortable saying like, hey, buy my alerts. Like, I would never do that to you guys. I never would do that to you. So I pay for it, helps me, and that's how I learn. And it's always a continuously learning process all the time. Right now, swing trading, tough, very tough, because we're just seeing ups and downs. So it's very tough. Day trading is where it's at, personally, or at least what I'm finding. So, So from Germany, U.S. stocks tend to go in the right direction, and German stock markets are already before the New York Stock Exchange opens. I don't know. Well, actually, what I will say is that I do look at this. So I'll go to like Webull, right, and I'll go to the markets, and so I'll look to other markets, right. You can look to other markets and see if I wake up, right, before you even look at futures. If I wake up and I see that like Europe, I see China, I see other markets were all red. Everything looks red across. That's probably not a good sign, for the day, in terms of like, the U.S. markets, right? So that's what I'll look at first. I don't know if you'll have a huge advantage. I'm not sure. I haven't really looked too much into it. So I don't know. What else? This is actually an interesting section of Webull too, because you can look at some of these industries. You can get a good idea of the sectors, industries they have right here. I can look at some of my watches, my lists. They have news coming through. That's everything. There's like a whole news streamer, I guess, right here that comes through. So there's that. That's actually pretty cool. You have 52-week highs, near the lows. So you can even look to this stuff too if you're looking for like ideas on how to get plays and how to find stuff. Find stuff that's either near a high for a breakout, near a low for a bounce. Stuff like that. I don't like stuff that's at new lows. I like stuff that's near a low that may be looking for a bounce. Personally, new lows is not ideal because I don't really want to see new lows. I want to see some support being developed, and no longer are we hitting new lows. We're kind of holding up. Also, great to see some earning dates, so you get a sense as to when stuff's got earnings. You can see when stuff's coming out with earnings. When it had earnings last. This is just good stuff to look at. I think I don't even use it enough. I should use it a lot more. CNBC is good to look at too. If you have ideally, I should probably if you're like an active day trader like all the time, having CNBC on the side or having some type of news scanner or something all the time looking at, just in case. Always look at the markets, always look at SPY, always look at what the overall markets are doing, what's the sentiment, all that stuff is going to be key, because that's going to drive long or short bias. Generally, like if I'm looking to go long on something, I ideally would like to see, is the overall market green today? Is the sector I'm in, is it green? Or if not, does this news have this? Is there a catalyst that's driving the price action right now? And then that's what I would be personally looking for. So Loop Insights, a Canadian company that does AI working with Amazon. Okay, that's pretty cool. Sold over the counter, big future. RACMF. Let's take a look at that. And that's the other thing too. This is kind of just a random thought, but you have to, what I'm finding is that putting in the screen time, that's the other thing that just takes time if you're just starting out, or I don't know. It takes time. This is obviously not tradable on Webull, but I think like a lot of these stocks that we saw that aren't tradable on Webull, you can trade it on TD Ameritrade or other brokers. So just because I can't here doesn't mean you can't. But putting the screen time is key. So like that's what I've been saying. Like getting up for me at before 6 a.m. to see that first stream of news flow every day at a minimum, whether I'm trading it or not, and I'm not trading it 99% of the time. But just to see the news flow, see how the stuff reacts, see kind of where does it hold VWAP? How does VWAP, and you get a good sense. And then when the time comes, when you start doing it more, you're ready. You're ready for it. And you start seeing it more. You're ready for it. So that's hopefully that'll pay off for people who are putting in the screen time, putting in the extra time. On the weekends, if you don't have time during the week, put on the time on the weekends to research stocks, to find stocks, and that's hopefully the point of the Sunday videos, the Sunday live streams, so that we can come together, get a bunch of stuff, pile it all together. What looks good? If you see something that's talked about, write it down. Look at it for the week. Have it on a watch list, and that's that's ideally how how it should go. And that's hopefully that's very helpful. And that's the point of doing all that stuff. So, other than that, let's take a look. I probably will wrap things up fairly soon. It's not dark. It's sun is actually it's I guess 6:15 here, so it's not late, but it's Eagles game coming on tonight. I'm pumped. I know no one probably is an Eagles fan in the chat right now, but for those who watch football, I am an Eagles fan, unfortunately, right now this year. But again, I'm not complaining because the division's up for grabs. So we got the division up for grabs. I can't complain. Yes, I'm just hanging out. So I'm just hanging out. We're just I got nothing better to do. So my girlfriend's meeting a friend. That's why she was in the background. She just left. So she's meeting up with a friend. So what am I going to do? I could just sit here and, hang out on stream, or I could, I don't know. What else could I do? I went to the gym earlier, right before the stream. And so I came back kind of sweaty, but now we're cooling off. So it's hot in Texas still. It's like 90 today. Next week is supposed to get cooler, but it's still kind of just like used to this. APPS. Let's take a look. Digital Turbine. Okay, so it's coming down. I think this is actually this area right here, this 32-ish area, seems to be like a good. It could be a good entry point. Prior area of consolidation. If it can't hold here, I would look for maybe like 30-ish, 32 or under could be a good area. 50 SMA could be a good support area. Prior resistance back here around 30, kind of held 30 before. So that's I would say that's probably a good entry area, I would think, for APPS. In addition, maybe you can see if we can draw a trend too. I mean, looks like be something. Yeah, this. Yeah, maybe it's trying to hold up here. Maybe if it holds this wick, it comes down a little more. So it's got some kind of support here. It looks like potentially right now. So that's a decent. Looks like it could be a decent play. No, I don't really trade after hours too much. If I do, it would be because I'm scaling out of a trade that I'm already in. If I'm in something and something has news, because you'll get the news in the morning, you'll get the news after hours. So like if something has, and sometimes during the day, but most of the time it's morning after hours. So if something has news, yes, I'll be either scaling out, most likely. If I'm taking a day trade, most of the time day trades, if I take one, it would be from a pre-market news or a morning play. That's pretty much it, because I think that you have the best chance for that continuation. That's what I like personally. So let's go back to after hours. Let's see. Okay, this guy looks like it's starting to peak out over this prior high, so it's trying to break out here. It's trying to break out. If it can get going, it's got to pop over this 36.50, and then eventually over 37 is where it's got to really get to. That's the area that looks like it needs over this. It's getting close. It's looking like it's trying to break out and round. It breaks over this level, then this area of consolidation will be the next, tougher area to break through. But 37, 38, then it starts pushing on up, which it looks pretty good. It does look pretty solid, to be honest. Based off of the sell-off, back in March, this looks like a solid recovery play, and now it's starting to break out. So I like it. I like that, momentum play right there. Let's see, Upwork looking okay. Well, it broke out. It just had a pop, so now it's trying to find. Let's see where it finds and holds up as support. So maybe it tries to come down and it holds around this 20 area. Maybe it holds up in here. If not, maybe it comes down towards like 17-ish, 1750. That's what I want to see. I want to see where it, because ultimately what we're looking at now, it broke out, okay, it pushed up, and now it's consolidating. So either it's going to push out and break out further, or it's going to come down and find some support somewhere, or consolidate in this area. So that's what I was watching right there for Upwork personally. SBE, I think we looked at it earlier, but I'll look at it again quick. Yeah, here's my line. So broke out of this kind of downtrend, popped up, now it's coming back towards this trend line. So if it holds this trend line, good sign. If not, I'd be looking to grab it on some of these types of dips down into here, down to here, and then potentially further. That's what I would be looking at, especially for a SPAC type of play. They've been taking some hits lately, so I would be careful. I wouldn't be going in too large. I'd be ready for further dips personally, and I think it's potentially a good long-term play. But I would think that you want to let this thing come down and settle a bit, potentially after the merger type of deal. That's what I've been noticing. We get some sell-offs post-merger, so you can probably take advantage of some better prices post-merger. Generally, that's how a lot of them playing. Okay, I'm out for the day. Well, appreciate you stopping by. Yeah, awesome. Awesome. Thanks about Guild. Yeah, the FDA approval for remdesivir. Yep. Let's take a look. I know I just saw that news. So what do we have? So we had that news. We're up 5% or so here now and after hours. And like I was talking about earlier, look at these VWAP bounces. I mean, you could have played these VWAP bounces. Now, this is a stock that's not like a massive mover in terms of percent mover. But, I mean, a VWAP bounce, boom. So it's looking pretty good. It's kind of flagging, it looks like. Let's take a look at the 4-hour chart quickly to see what's been going on. So, yeah, we've been coming down. Now we got this push. I think this is actually a really good sign, although it's been kind of getting hit pretty hard based on where it's been at. So now it's got to pop back. It's up over 60 now. It's at 63 here after hours. So, okay, the next level, I want to see it break back above this 50 SMA, which is at 64, 65. We can get back over that level and hold up over 65. That may be what signals the reversal back to the upside for Guild. That's what I would think, personally, is what we're looking for. Get it back over 65. That's a good sign. I think that's a good sign, especially based on what's been going on. I think that's a good play. Yes, I like Rocket Mortgage. I do. I honestly like it too. I have it in the longer term account. I like Rocket. Let's actually look at that. Let's look at RKT. Boom, boom, boom. So it held this uptrend kind of. It was trying to hold this uptrend, and then it broke down below. So, I mean, it is what it is. I'm looking to buy it right where it's at right now and below. But again, like you mentioned, election. Let's have the election play out, and then I'll look to re-enter or look to enter. I'm in it, so I'm looking to play it long, and I'll look to grab some more after the election. That's my plan. AEMD. Not sure if there is news. I don't know. Up 10% today. I don't know. It did actually pop up a couple days ago, held the 50 SMA, and then popped again. So many times you see a bounce play there. That looked like a fun bounce play. I don't know what's going on with that personally, but it was a decent buy down here. I mean, down under that 150 was a beautiful buy for AEMD for sure. Goodyear GT. Oh, this is actually looking good too. It's looking like it's going to try to break out over this 1050 because we had these prior resistance at $10.50 and $10. So let's break out above that. It's after hours. It's right there. So if we can open above 1050, we can gap up and go. That could be a really bullish day tomorrow, especially if the overall market's green. If the overall market's red, that could be a prohibitor. So that would kind of stink. But if we can gap and go, this could be a nice little play for the next couple days for a breakout. And then where may it hit after that? This is going to be a potential resistance area. So maybe it can pop up, get into this gap, and hit 12 to 13. Could be a shorter term, price target. I think. Let's see. I just made my first after hours trade, 120 shares, Guild. There you go. Let's see how that's doing. Yeah, I mean, like I said, that you can get news at any point in the day, but this is actually looking pretty good. I mean, if you want balance type of play, let's see if it can break back above. It had that initial spike on the initial news, but it's got to pop back up above, you know, the 63, 64, and then it has some room. Maybe it tests that 64.50, and then it looks pretty good. So you might be looking good. This is going to probably get some good attention. And it may even get talked about tonight. So this may be a great gapper for tomorrow morning. So that could be a good play. I'll just talk about SPE really quick, but for those who didn't see, let me quickly pull it up. Quickly. Holding this trend. So I want to see it hold this trend. If not, I would look for some entries down below. Broke out of this, broke out to the upside here. Want to see it hold this trend line. If it can't, let it come down further personally. Cisco CSCO. So it looks like a 38-ish. It's kind of bouncing around 38. So this area seems to be what it may be trying to hold up. Looks like if it can put in a higher low here and make a little turn up, that would be a higher low developing, which is going to be looking pretty solid. And then I want to see it break above this 50 SMA. So back above 40. Get above 40. Close above 40 for a day or two, and then that shows a pretty strong. That would show a pretty strong sign to the upside. TTCF, I talked about it earlier, but I like it. I just want to see it kind of consolidate a little bit more and really kind of, level out a little bit better than what it's been doing, because I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, let it. That's what I'm saying. Let it calm down. Let it find an area. Maybe it's 1750. Maybe it comes down further towards 15. Maybe give it some time to let's see some consolidation. We're seeing too many wicks up and down and everything, so we're not holding supports and everything very well. So that's just my only concern there. Other than that, guys, I've been on here for almost 3 hours, so I'm going to probably wrap things up very soon. We have, let's see, SPY is still pushing up, so into the debate we have pushes up to the upside, at least for right now. Other than that, we'll see what happens tomorrow. We have I have a bunch of news plays that I'm still waiting on. Maybe I'll get something tomorrow, maybe I won't. If I had to guess, I would guess TBLT, or it would be ADTX in the pre-market hours for some news, hopefully, if I can maybe get lucky. If not, I'll be holding them into next week, and I'll have more videos out for sure on Saturday, going over my trading stocks to $100,000 challenge, how the week has been faring me. We're going to talk about that on Saturday. Sunday night, of course, live stream, so make sure you're sticking around. Subscribe so you guys don't miss Sunday night's live, and come prepared with some stocks that you're looking at for the next week. Hopefully we get some more clarity on some debate stuff, some kind of talks about certain stocks start pushing up tomorrow based on the debate. Certain areas are covered more in depth. Maybe we get some stimulus news this weekend or tomorrow, hopefully, I don't know. Other than that, though, hopefully you guys enjoyed sticking around. VVRP, I'll look at that one really, really quick, and we'll wrap it up. We'll wrap things up, and I'll be doing more of these, guys, so don't, make sure you're sticking around. This is a solid recovery from March, so it's recovering on up. Needs to get up above this 375, though. That's the next area it needs to get above. So it's looking like it's trying to hold an uptrend for, to some degree. So it's trying to hold something like, let me zoom this or bring this guy back up. It's trying to hold that, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Oh, this is not the stock. This is VVR. We got to look at VVRP. There we go. VVRP. What is that? Is that not a ticker? Okay, maybe it's not. I don't know. Whatever. Yep, no problem, guys. And I will see you guys in the next videos. If you haven't watched today's Bitcoin video, going over some of those Bitcoin stocks, Bitcoin is still pushing up right now, so I like that. I like the sound of that for tomorrow. Potential gap up. It's pushing again. It may be attempting to get to those next high, so we'll see. Other than that, yeah, Mara is pushing up a little bit too, 305. So we'll see. Appreciate you guys, the new subscribers. Appreciate you guys. Make sure to stick around for future streams. That being said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Appreciate you all for tuning in.